Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and it is time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series Wawa 250 at the Daytona International Speedway for a late regular season race on the NASCAR Xfinity Series side of things. And of course, under the lights on a Friday night. Cars are on racetrack as we are just about ready to go green for the start of tonight's 250-mile, 100-lap race at the High Banks here in Florida. And we'll go through the starting lineup to begin tonight's stream as, again, we are just a few pace laps away from things getting kicked off. Chandler Smith qualified on the pole earlier today. He'll be starting up in front. Austin Hill, who won the season opener at Daytona at the beginning of the year, will be starting on the front row as he rolls off P2. AJ Allmendinger with Joe Grab Jr. will line up in row number 2. Jesse Love, Ryan Truex in row 3. Sheldon Creed, Riley Herbst, row 4, Anthony Alfredo, Josh Williams, a couple of underdogs in this race starting back in row 5. Justin Allgaier with Parker Kligerman in row 6. Jeremy Clements, Cole Custer in row 7. Parker Retzlaff, who's making his Cup debut tomorrow, will start inside of row 8 in this Xfinity race. Brandon Jones to his outside. Cesar Baccarello with Kyle Weatherman in row number 9 and row 10, rounding out the top half of the field, will be Shane Van Gisbergen and Leland Honeyman. And row 11 is going to be Jeb Burton, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Patrick Emmerle, and Sammy Smith in row 12. Jordan Anderson is in the field tonight in the inside of row 13 with Ryan Sieg to his outside. Gustine and Matt DiBenedetto in row 14. Row 15 behind them is Blaine Perkins and CJ McLaughlin. Brennan Poole with Akinori Ogata in row 16. Row 17 on the inside, Josh Bilicki and Kyle Sieg on the outside. Good to see Sieg back in the car again this weekend after a flip at Michigan in last week's race as well. Joey Gase with Ryan Ellis starting deep in the field in row 18, and rounding out the 38-car field in row 19 tonight will be Tim Vaines and Sam Mayer. Mayer starting deep in the field here in this one. Tail end of it, in fact. Take a look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. Regular season points battle is extremely tight between just two drivers as of right now. Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier. Still 5 races to go in the Xfinity Series regular season, unlike 2 for the Cup side. And the Truck Series starting their playoffs already this weekend. A lot less races in the playoffs with a somewhat longer schedule for the Xfinity Series. The reason why we won't have the playoffs for about another month yet. But Cole Custer again leading that points battle. And really, Justin Allgaier able to close in quite a bit after Custer having a wreck last week at Michigan. Allgaier is, again, only 12 points back, really the only 2 in a fighting chance for that regular season title, as Austin Hill 3rd, Chandler Smith 4th, or more than 1 race worth of points out of 1st, and then 5th with AJ Allmendinger on back in points, or more than 2 races behind the current points leader. The drivers locked into the Xfinity Series playoff fields with wins would include 2 apiece for Chandler Smith, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, 3 for Shane Van Gisbergen, and 1 for Jesse Love, Riley Herbst, Cole Custer. As far as the other drivers locked in, and Sam Mayer also has 2 wins on the season. I skipped him. Apologize for that. Didn't see him, obviously, up at the very top of the driver standings. But 8 drivers have won a race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series of Xfinity Series regulars, so 4 spots still open on points, very similar to that of the Cup Series side of things. Those 4 drivers coming into this race above the cut line include AJ Allmendinger, Sheldon Creed, Parker Kligerman, and Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith is only 1 point to the good over Ryan Sieg coming into this race here today. Brandon Jones is a lot further back in points, almost 100 back. More than likely in a must-win situation for him. Anthony Alfredo and Brennan Poole are also just behind Jones in the point standings, also in a must-win scenario. And we'll see if we get a new winner here today. Still 2 super speedway / drafting racetracks before the playoffs. Atlanta will be the next one in a few weeks. Of course, the Cup Series will kick off the playoffs at Atlanta, but for the Xfinity side, that is still late in the regular season as well. So again, cars are on the racetrack for late-breaking pre-race updates. Here is the Xfinity Series booth. Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, and Steve Letarte.
Here by a stripe of tape on top of Justin's helmet that says Happy 101st ET. That ET is for Evelyn Brandt Thomas. She is one of the co-founders of Brandt. Tomorrow she turns 101. This was a surprise from her. Justin's idea to put that tape on his helmet to celebrate her and her turning 101 tomorrow. And guys, what a bigger celebration than if Justin able to get to victory lane tonight.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good for Evelyn to have that kind of a birthday present. And And we're waiting to see if the 21 catches up, by the way. It's at the back of the pack, and it's supposed to be on the front row. The lights are off on the pace car, meaning they're ready to start the race when they come around. So did NASCAR tell him he couldn't make these passes, or he may have chose to start back here, which I guess a guy who's won 3
Well, that's just interesting.
here in the spring.
That's a head scratcher. I don't, maybe if I started 15th in the middle of the pack, but from the front row starting position, if I was the 21, I would drive it up to the front.
NASCAR's telling us that they made an unapproved adjustment on pit road, so that's why he's going to be in the back.
Interesting call there from the 21 team of Austin Hill, so we'll have to see him come from the tail end of the field. Chandler Smith, who was still the pole sitter before the race began, and still is as we're kicking off here, will lead the field to the green, and we are underway at Daytona for this NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Pretty good launch for Smith through the restart zone, and a good push from behind from A.J. Allmendinger in the 16 car as well. Teammate of Chandler Smith on the outside, two of them of which Joe Graff Jr., Ryan Truex, the other two Joe Gibbs Toyotas in that outer lane. We'll see if Chandler can get up in front of him and they can lead the field 1, 2, 3, but that doesn't seem to be the case here as Taylor Gray tries to go to the point off turn 2. So no major restart coordination, I guess, with the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. Still gridlock 2x2 through the field for the most part here. A little bit of 3 wide further back and already a crash. Tail end of the field and Austin Hill's caught up in it. Jeremy Clements involved as well. Towards the tail end of the pack. 35 car is in it. I believe that's Joey Gase. No, Gase in the 53. 35 car being driven. Let's check on that real quick. By Akinori Ogata. Garrett Smithley in the 0 was also involved.
The 28 was slow, and everyone checked up from behind.
If Justine's in the 15 car, the 51 gets stacked up, gets pushed to the apron, and at that point, the whole bottom line stacks up. But the wreck is really the 51, right? The 26 pushes the 51 down on the bottom. You're going to see him right here. Gets down on the apron, and now everybody starts to check up, and that's kind of a chain reaction. The wreck behind is a reaction to the 51 wrecking.
The 51 sideways, and that quick, it gets bottled up here at Daytona.
Yeah, that's so disappointing. On lap 1, the aggressiveness, it just isn't necessary. On lap 1 to be pushing that hard into turn 3. It's a long race. And this race has a history of a lot of cautions. And you have to go into the race understanding that.
And it was surprising because Jeremy Clements in that 51 looked like he went down on the yellow line, and then when he was self-correcting, just lost control of this car.
Look at this damage. Ryan Ellis. So disappointing. We talk about track position and how important it is. So look at this big shot. So the 51 car, he's right behind Allgaier. The 26 of Earnhardt's pushing him. Now the 51 is in the back of the 7. And now he's just out of control. So it all started because, in my eyes, Jeffrey Earnhardt does not know that Jeremy Clements is up against the rear bumper of Allgaier. And he's trying to push him and ends up just pushing him into this wreck. And the 35, Akinori Ogata, came in at a much higher pace than everyone else. Same thing, obviously not understanding that they were stacking up. He gets to the back of the 15, Justine, and then goes up and catches the 21. It looks so much easier in slow motion. Right, when you're watching in real speed, it just happens truly in a blink of an eye. One car gets on the apron, we see some sparks, and next thing you know, they're stacked up.
And we have to remind you, I mean, the rules are you can't lock bumpers. So Bump drafting here is more just bumping a car and not locking up with another car. So
bumping,
another
banging.
yeah. Jeremy Clements, who was probably right on the 7, was probably trying to get off of him and then got hit from behind.
And I'll add one more. That's going into turn 3 the first time. They're really not even full speed yet. I mean, they're close, but they're not to the speed they'll see through there the next lap. The first Xfinity race I ran here, Harry Gant asked me, he said, "What are you going to do today? What's your strategy?" I said, "I'm going to go to the front." He said, "Take it easy the first lap." I wrecked over there in turn 3, and he motored by me under caution.
It was lap 1 here, and the caution already out in the Xfinity race here at Daytona.
Half a dozen cars taken out in a crash on lap 1, turn 3 to begin tonight's Wawa 250 at Daytona. Chandler Smith credited with the lap sled under caution to begin this race. Joe Graff Jr. in second, AJ Allmendinger third, Ryan Truex fourth, and Jesse Love rounds out the top 5. Times, as a result of which had to start at the rear end of the field, which resulted in him then getting involved in this accident at the back of the pack. Quite a bit of damage to the heavy favorite coming into this one, and I would say he was my pick to win this race personally. And looking at the chat poll, he was one of the favorites there as well, I do believe. 29% of the 28 votes already in the chat poll have Austin Hill winning. Now, I think Hill should be able to continue on in this race, but with the damage he has, is it going to keep him from being able to get to the front of the field and work his way up there in the draft? I will say most of the damage seems to be towards his back bumper than the front. So maybe he could still be a good push car, but as far as getting pushed, I doubt that that's going to happen without turning him around. That back bumper is definitely not going to be squared off anymore. You have until the end of stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win this race today in the chat poll currently. Again, Chandler Smith from the poll. Going to lead these first handful of laps here under caution. Our stage splits tonight will be 30, 30, and 40. Quick shout outs to those of you that are in the chat watching here in the early going of the stream. We got Cars One Boy, Nathan Urich, Frank Powers, Lonnie Clark, Robert Perkel, Cars One Boy, NASCAR Penske Cup Series Racing, Billy Kramer, and a lot of others watching here. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. We haven't missed an Xfinity Series race on the stream all season. Only race I haven't gotten was last weekend's Cup race in Michigan because I was there in person. Had the race highlight video uploaded for both of the Cup Series portions of the races on Sunday and Monday uploaded to the channel. So if you haven't taken a check at those yet, be sure to check that out. That's like the hotel I stayed at when I went to Daytona. Right on the shoreline. I'm not kidding. It looks identical. It's on the USA Network camera right now.
Well, than that, Ryan Ellis. Any idea what happened in front of you?
No, I'm sure it looked pretty stupid from any perspective. Felt pretty stupid from my perspective, but yeah, somebody, I think 51 got cut, like a left rear cut or something going into turn 3, and I tried to guess which way it was going to go, and didn't feel like the car slowed down one bit from when I got to the brakes to when I hit him. So sure, it looked pretty dumb, felt pretty dumb. Just hate to crash against half the field, or not half the field, 3 or 4 cars. First lap. Feels really, really dumb. And our small team right now, Prime Racing, doesn't have a lot of cars and not a lot of people, so I feel really bad for them and the classic racing as well.
Are you surprised to see aggressive racing on that level, though, that early in the race, Ryan?
No. That's the Xfinity Series. You know, everybody's going for it, trying to make the playoffs. And I mean, we have no excuse to be in that crash like that. Definitely trying to ride. And yeah, just feel really stupid right now.
Just glad to see that Ryan's okay. But Jeff, he makes a great point. Smaller team like this, when you damage a car that early in the race, or really any time in a race, that's a lot of expense going to a small race team.
Yeah, not only is it expense, Marty, it's, race teams build off of every single race. What did we learn? How can we get better? What tweaks can we make to this car? In this case, they just have to rebuild one. So they didn't learn anything. The only thing they got was qualifying. That's the only thing they got. And that in itself is a major detriment because you come back, you go to Talladega soon. You come back here next year. You just do not have any notes whatsoever to run off of.
Looking at the track crew trying to clean up the fluids that were put down coming off turn 4 and onto pit road. Right along with Justin Allgaier. You can race to pick up Hellman's mayonnaise at Sam's Club and skip the line with Scan and Go checkout. It's located in the Sam's Club app. Cleanup continues. It will be quick. We'll have a restart out front. 5 laps complete. Done. 100 grade.
Again, 30 laps in this first stage of the race. Nobody hitting pit road during this caution with it coming out on lap 1. Again, turn 3, the site of the incident. As far as the drivers listed involved in the crash, Austin Hill, Ryan Ellis, Jeremy Clements, Akinori Ogata, Gus Dean, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Justin Allgaier, Kyle Sieg, and all involved in the crash listed by NASCAR. So in total, 9 drivers were involved in the incident, some with more damage than others. We know Ryan Ellis and Akinori Ogata are out of the race following this crash. The other 7 on the DVP clock. Slow average race speed with this caution. And not getting a full green flag lap in, only 75.49 miles per hour. It will rise from that as we continue on. We'll take our first ad break. Hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. You're listening live to the Xfinity Series night race at Daytona. Northwest Arizona, thanks for tuning in also. Our goal is to get to 100 likes on this stream here today. Into the night. So we'll see if we can get there. We were only 2 likes shy of our goal of 50 during the qualifying stream we had a few hours ago for the NASCAR Cup Series. Once we get the green flag racing, of course, you'll get to see all the race statistics on our live raw feed leaderboard, which comes straight from the NASCAR.com website. Lengthy caution here to begin this race. Already lap 6. Again, all under yellow to this point. Top 2 in the running order. Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, another one in 4th. 2 Chevys in 5th for different teams, RCR and Colleague Racing. Highest running Ford is Riley Herbst in 6th, and he's the only Ford in the top 10. 5 Chevys, 4 Toyotas, and that 1 Ford are all the manufacturers up in the top 10 in the very, very early going of this race. It's been 13 minutes since the drop of the green flag already, and we're only on lap 6. Oh, boy.
When most come to Daytona Beach, they spend their time at the beach enjoying themselves. And I'm sure that Gus Dean, making his first Xfinity Series start, would much rather have been at the beach than in turn 3 when all of that happens to him. Because not only was he involved in the incident, but then after they taped everything up, he was running around the racetrack and the engine expired on that 15. So his very first starts ends before he completed 1 lap of green.
Oof.
The Xfinity Series in Daytona. And you see, this is under caution. He's running around. You see the damage to the front of the car, and they had already taped up a lot of the front of the car, and then the engine blows up. Steve, you're mentioning.
Well, that lengthens the yellow out.
Night because you said it's the first race. It's going to be super disappointing. But I said during commercial, I've never seen oil put on top of oil dry. I've seen the oil dry put down to absorb it, but unfortunately for the 15, and we don't know if it's the engine or the way the smoke is coming out with that damage. Could have maybe broken the radiator oil cooler. Either way, it's going to be the end of the day. The big question mark I have now is that 21 doesn't look good, but is it damaged? And how much is it damaged? And I'm not sure we have any idea. I'm not sure they know until we go back full speed racing here.
Patrick Everling in the 07.
That was a pretty chaotic 3/4 lap. I mean, so between the 21 starting in the back and then the wreck, and now we have the 8 on pit road, Marty.
Yeah, Sammy Smith, one of the cut line drivers, said he felt a vibration after all that went on pit or on the racetrack. So they're going to come down, just play it safe here, and take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Kim.
And for Ryan Sieg, he's on pit road. They will put fresh tires. This was mainly, though, because he was on the splitter, so they had to make some chassis adjustments to get his ride right on that machine. You see the fuel going in, Dave, and some more adjustments to the chassis.
Kim, let's provide Steve and all the viewers a little information on that 21. Here's some radio.
Vibrations in the front and the back, where the whole bar vibrates to the right rear, out to the where it's coming from. If we, I think it's the right rear, so if we got to put another right rear on it, clear.
So back on the track, you could hear in his voice, big vibration. They only had 23 seconds left on the damaged vehicle policy clock, and so that wasn't enough time to come down and do anything else. Steve, the minimum speed that he was told he had to achieve was a 56-second lap. If he doesn't do that, the clock doesn't reset, he loses the draft. It's pretty much all over.
That's a great update, Dave. That's exactly right. So 56 seconds is not an issue for a car without heavy damage. Obviously, the 21 has damage. But if he can keep up with the draft, one lap below 56 seconds, and it's like washing your hands. You've never been on the clock. You're free and clear. You can come up everywhere. You can go to the garage.
Clock shuts off.
You can do whatever you'd like to do. So this a restart and subsequent lap or two after that, very important for the 21 because with that little bit of time.
As long as it drives okay, he should be able to meet that minimum speed. You know, because the
Like
drag
in raw speed, you mean?
yeah, because the drag in front of him is going to be side by side. That's going to create a bigger weight. As long as he can stay wide open in the gas, he should be able to beat it.
And Austin Hill, so many things riding on this. He's currently 3rd in the regular season standings. That's big because that is worth 8 playoff points if he can continue on. Again, there are still 4 races after this before the playoffs get underway. But another thing that Austin Hill has going is that he has led in the previous 14 drafting track races. That's tied for the record. 14 times he had been up front in this style of racing, and now he's currently scored a lap down. Mark.
Rick, before they took the green, we talked to you about Sam Mayer and his problems in qualifying, having to start all the way at the very back of the field after a shifting issue during his qualifying lap, that they paid the penalty. He had to go all the way down to the apron. A little bit of splitter damage on the one car. Marty Lindley said they got most of that fixed up, but taking the opportunity here to top off here. Very early to do that, Steve, but why not? You were already at the back of the field.
Yeah, it's just free fuel you can put in your car. It's just messy, Rick. It's a messy start to the race. You know, we don't really see practice. We see one lap of qualifying. We don't really get to see any drafting. And now with that accident in turn 3, here we are 9 laps into the race. I'm not sure I'm any more educated on who has good cars or bad cars. What we do know is my eyes are going to be on the 21. He is a lap down, but the number one goal for that 21 is to find minimum speed to try to continue their effort.
I want to let you know the 35 of Akinori Ogata was checked and released from the infield care center, also involved in this one.
And we've seen a lot of races won here with cars that are damaged. And so that won't be the last caution we see tonight. Just can't quit. Even Austin Hill, if he can get back in the lead lap and get a chaotic race.
Well, right now he's the only car that's running on the racetrack that's scored a lap down. So if a caution does come out, he would be the free pass recipient. So
Let's see if we can run a lap, Rick.
that's the goal.
So for now, the concern for the 21 is if we don't run a lap, like he still has to meet that minimum speed. So we need to see a couple green flag laps here.
Feels like we're going to try it again. Chandler Smith.
All right, here we go. Lap 10 restart. Green flag back in the air. 9 laps under caution to begin this race. Lengthy yellow flag period, but we are back to racing at least for now. Another good launch on the restart for Chandler Smith. We'll see if the Toyotas on that outside line are going to let the 81 in. They didn't do that on the initial start. They don't seem to be doing that here as they try to get up to speed through turns 1 and 2. Jesse Love in the 2-car riding in the outside line. 3rd row back. He tries to get closer to the 20 and the 19. The 19 leads the pack out in front of the field. Big run coming from behind, though. Joe Graff Jr. trying to get a lap let in here, perhaps. There's a quick pull to the inside for Chandler Smith, and now the speedy drive put down on the bottom of the racetrack. And Chandler Smith is going to lead the opening lap following the restart and the first green flag lap of the day. Like Austin Hill has lost the draft at the tail end of the field here. We'll see if he can meet minimum speed has to obtain a better than 56-second lap time in order to get past the damaged vehicle policy clock. I believe he gets 3 laps to try to clear it. Still dealing with some vibrations to that race car, but he is definitely well off the lead draft. Door-to-door for the lead in the third lane is starting to form at the front of the field. The rookie Jesse Love is going to be the one to pull out in that outer lane near the wall. It's going to put the 20 car slightly 3 wide. It looks like Love scraped the wall a bit off turn 4 as the 20 squeezed him on corner exit. Love goes backwards, only 1 car in line behind him to try to keep that draft up, and that would be Anthony Alfredo in the 5. Both those cars who started in the top 10 now no longer in the top 10 after that loss of momentum on the front stretch. On that inside line, he's moving forward from the start to where he is right now. More cars starting to form in that third lane behind Jesse Love. Big block at the front of the field by A.J. Allmendinger. As soon as he pulled to the lead, he went all the way to the outside to block the 98 of Riley Herbst. Did so successfully. Holds on for now. And Allmendinger should lead his first lap of the race at the start-finish line this time by. As they work their way into the center of the tri-oval, AJ by inches leads that lap with the 98 of Herbst back to the outside of Allmendinger again. Herbst getting a little bit of a head of steam there down towards turn 1. Still door-to-door for the race lead into the first turn. Jesse Love's got a little bit of help. It looks like Cole Custer is now pulled up in front of the 2. Brandon Jones leads the middle line, and he's moving forward with a head of steam on the back straightaway now. Austin Hill down onto pit road.
They said you met minimum speed, but bring it to us with all that information. He's going into the garage.
So now to go back, try to make repairs, because remember,
All right, so it sounds like Austin Hill did meet the damaged vehicle policy clock. He got to the 56-second lap time. We'll look on our speed chart here to see exactly where he had gotten to. Looks like he ran a 53.730, so easily met minimum speed by a couple seconds despite not being in the lead pack in the draft. He is now on or off of pit road, I should say. He pulled it straight to the garage. They'll be making repairs to that 21 to try to get it back out here so he can potentially surpass any other cars who fail to make it to the finish of this race. He's currently scored 35th place, 3 laps down, and will continue to lose laps as he is off track. 3x3 from about the 3rd place position on back. Didn't take long for it to form up. A lot of cars are hanging out of the lead draft. Looks like there's only about with the leaders at the very front of the field. And only the top 10 will get stage points at the end of stages 1 and 2 as well. And again, end of stage 1 is lap 30. We are 15 laps to go here in this stage. Full flag-to-flag coverage for the final super speedway races for the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series will be without full-screen commercials. Any commercial breaks we do get throughout tonight's race will be NASCAR nonstop commercial breaks, which we have seen obviously some side-by-side commercial breaks at times over the last several years on both Fox and NBC's coverage. But again, no full-screen commercials for tonight's race as well as tomorrow night's Cup race at Daytona. So we will not miss any green flag action on this live commentary stream. A lot of lane changing going on in the couple rows outside of the race lead in that battle. Chandler Smith did find his way back to the front, leading that lap at the line. We've had probably 4 or 5 lead changes just in the short amount of green flag laps we've completed here in tonight's race. Allmendinger with his teammate down on the bottom. Remember these calling cars being so strong in the late 2010s, early 2020s with Haley, Allmendinger winning races on the super speedways. And now Josh Williams in the mix here. Of course, Justin Haley no longer with Colleague Racing even in the Cup Series, so we may not see him in the Xfinity field again, but this Colleague team has not found victory lane on the super speedway since those days when Haley was a full-time Xfinity Series driver. Going backwards in that bottom lane right now on the double yellow line is Allmendinger and Williams. Shingbee and Gisberg in the other Colleague entry, of course, in the field today. And he is not up in this lead pack right now. He's kind of hanging about a second and a half off the lead in pack number 2. Where I'd assume those drivers are just single file, minding their own time. course, SVG locked into the playoffs already with 3 wins on the season, so no need for him to really be up here. He's not in the top 10 in points either, where there will be. So he's not fighting for anything there either. Stage wins and race wins is all SVG's going for. It looks like he's not even going to try to go for the stage 1 win either. Out in front of the field is still Chandler Smith in the 81. The 3 Joe Gibbs Toyotas lead the outside line and run 1, 2, 3, and actually 4 as Sheldon Creed is up there now all of a sudden. So top 4 are all of the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Down on the bottom, but we don't see any side-by-side action until we go back to Jesse Love, who leads the bottom lane as he's side-by-side with the 7th or 8th place car. Sammy Smith, though, in the middle of 3 and 4. Me saying that, Cole Custer and Anthony Alfredo move to the bottom in front of Jesse Love as they try to make some headway in the Joe Gibbs Toyotas now. Custer to the inside of the 3rd place car at the start-finish line. Top 2 still single file and clear through the tri-oval. Couple cars stuck in the middle groove of the racetrack right now. Looks like Riley Herbst, one of which couldn't quite get down to the bottom with his teammate. And one Toyota of Chandler Smith goes down to cover the bottom on Custer, who had another big run in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And that Toyota brigade is now split up at the front of the field. Well, Chandler Smith dropped back a few positions, or remains in the lead, I should say, his other teammates, so. Of Creed, Graff, and Truex all lose a little bit of positioning. Last time by at the start-finish line, AJ Allmendinger credited with the lead at the end of lap 18. Chandler Smith scored 2nd, 10th of a second off the lead. Also 10th back, Parker Kligerman in 3rd. Cole Custer at 4th, the 10th back. At 2/10 off the lead was Joe Graff Jr. in 5th. 11 laps left here, stage 1 at the Daytona International Speedway. You're listening live on KRC to the Wawa 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Parker Kligerman, who had a bit of a points penalty after failing post-race inspection last weekend. His car was brought back to the R&D Center following the conclusion of last week's Xfinity Series race at Michigan. Was docked 20 points in the standings. Still sits him as of right now 11th on the playoff grid coming in, but his points cushion is a lot less than it was obviously before. So looking to have a solid day. Parker, a great restrictor plate / super speedway racer. He's got multiple Truck Series wins on super speedways. Has not broken through to victory lane in the Xfinity Series yet in his career, but looking to maybe do so tonight and lock himself in that way so he doesn't have to worry about points the next several races. 9 laps to go at the line in stage 1 at the Daytona International Speedway.
Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. You can follow the action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras as well as radio broadcasts. Search NASCAR in your app store to download, and you can start a free trial tonight. You're watching the Wawa 250, powered by Coca-Cola, and already 21 laps complete. Less than 9 to go in stage 1. There has been a caution already. It came on lap 1, but right now, AJ Allmendinger out in front of Parker Kligerman in the 48th and the 81 of Chandler Smith, who started on pole. Here comes Allgaier leading this lower line.
Yeah, you see what happens. This lower line, there's less cars. So on the straight, the upper line gets a little bit of an advantage. The 7, Allgaier, he's trying to side draft to slow him down on the straight. And then when he gets to the corner, he's going to run the shortest line around there as possible. And see, he'll make ground in the corner. All that's great. He's like, all right, I'm making ground, I'm going to the front. Now when they get here.
Yeah, could he clear Allmendinger? No.
But there.
Ryan Sieg in the 39, just in front of Jesse Love. Dave, how about the 97 in his progress?
Rick going nowhere from his 19th starting spot. Here's why.
rear end 20 out of the track, and I'm just all over the place. Once I'm in the first, I think it's hard. Copy that. It's probably a lot better when there's nobody behind you, right? When correct. Just hang at the back of the troop right here. We'll just keep our eyes open if there's any wrecks here.
Stay at the back of the pack, but don't lose the pack. That's critical here, Marty.
And Steve mentioned it earlier in this broadcast about what happened to Riley Herbst last week at Michigan. Spotter Joey Campbell cleared Riley Herbst, and he was not clear. And this is the wreck that happened with Ryan Sieg. And then when they finally were able to meet on Tuesday, they sat down, and Joey walked in the room and said, "Hey, that was my fault. I did not think that you were going to hit anyone. I thought you were actually clear." And Riley joked, said, "Hey, listen, man, I made so many mistakes listening to you when I didn't pay attention. That's okay. We all make mistakes." And then Jeff Davenport, the chief, said something very interesting to me. I asked him, "Were you thinking about what happened coming into Daytona this week?" He said, "No, as long as the trust was still there." And I could see in the meeting that trust was there. Is there a place, Jeff, where you have to trust the spotter more as a driver than Daytona or Talladega?
I think this is the very most important place to trust your spotter. And I think after last, you can't let one incident completely change your relationship. And those two guys didn't. And you can see why a spotter is so important. This battle at the front with only 6 to go for this stage in, it is intense. So when your spotter says to do something, you have to have been looking to make sure it's right, but you have to trust them. You got to make that move.
5 laps to go. Stage 1 at the Daytona International Speedway. Top 10 would include A.J. Allmendinger in second, Parker Kligerman third, Ryan Sieg fourth, Chandler Smith fifth, Anthony Alfredo sixth, Joe Graff Jr. seventh, Sammy Smith eighth, Sheldon Craig ninth, and Josh Williams in 10th. Ton of great green flag racing to this point through stage 1. Maybe calm for about a half a lap or so, and that was about it. If you could call it calm before the Joe Gibbs Toyotas got split apart from the very top portion of the field. They still run in the same one in the outside lane now. The 3 in front of them on the top lane would include the 48 of Kligerman, the 16 of Allmendinger, and the 7 of Allgaier. Down to the bottom lane of the racetrack, it's Ryan Sieg in the 39, who's trying to tail himself to the front. He's in a giant points battle coming into this thing with Sammy Smith. Smith just a couple cars behind him on that inside group of cars. Again, Sieg was 1 point out of the cutoff spot on Sammy Smith coming into this race here today. As they run, it's an 11-point difference with Sieg in 5th and Sammy Smith in 9th. 1 point per position in the top 10. Both drivers looking at stage points here. 3 to go at the line this time by in stage number 1. It looked like there for a second, Jesse Love was debating on trying the middle groove. Maybe trying to get a little more clean air on the nose of his race car, perhaps in the center of the corner for better handling as well. He ran about a half a lane off of what Josh Williams in the 11 was doing underneath him. Williams trying to pick up a spot on Sammy Smith. Smith now jumps into the outside lane, and a lot of the number of cars have dissipated on the bottom near the double yellow line. Only about 4 or 5 up there. All of a sudden, as Ryan Sieg just doesn't seem to have the speed to lead this line forward or the number of cars to try to help work with him. 2 laps left in stage 1, excuse me. Stage 1 here at Daytona. We'll see if Justin Allgaier can hold on. Trying to get another playoff point. A lot of stage wins already this season for Allgaier. Every playoff point matters. It always seems to come down to just a point or two at the very most, it seems, into that round of 8 race at Martinsville before deciding the Championship 4. Allgaier has been to the Championship 4 for the last several years now. And had a great car at Phoenix earlier this season. Had to think of him as one of the favorites for the title, despite not winning his first Xfinity Series title yet. Maybe 2024 could be the year, and stage 1 here at Daytona could be a stepping stone to that. couple of the Joe Gibbs Toyotas now popping out of the top lane of the racetrack in the middle of turns 1 and 2 down to the bottom. That being Ryan Truex in the 20 and the 18 to Sheldon Creed. To cover the bottom was Allgaier, middle of the back straightaway. Allgaier back to the top in front of Allmendinger. Things starting to get hectic now at the very front of the field. Allgaier down the block again. One car sparking in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Right front tire maybe down on one car. Everybody evades. And Justin Allgaier is going to hold on to win stage number 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Chandler Smith in second, AJ Allmendinger third, Sheldon Creed fourth, and Parker Kligerman in 7, Joe Graff Jr. 8, Sammy Smith 9th, and Jeremy Clements, despite spinning in that lap 1 incident, still finishes 10th in stage 1. Jeb Burton in the 27 was the car that had the right front tire going down. That was after contact with the 9 of Brandon Jones. Jones went to just pull out a line going into turn 3. Obviously, the 27 was clearly underneath him. And after that body check getting into the corner, luckily both cars held on, but the 27 had to come down onto pit road and obviously going to have to replace that right front tire as it was down on the rim. A lot of sparks were coming out from underneath the race car. But again, everybody was able to race around him up in that lead pack. Took place just outside the top 10 where the contact had happened. Yeah, I know you guys in the chat are mentioning about on CeeLo's streams that he does, that he has a video camera of like in-car cameras. And I know at the very beginning of the season, Black Flags Matter, at least during Daytona and the Clash, he had one as well. But then he ended up stopped doing the streams because he couldn't do that. I was afraid that he'd be at risk of the channel going down. And he's got a lot more subscribers than I get away with it. So, I mean, more power to CeeLo. If he pulls it off. Hopefully nothing happens to his channel. I know he's going to get a lot more views off of doing that. So, I mean, sure, I would want to do that too, personally, but I just don't feel like risking my channel is worth it, to be completely honest. I feel like my channel gets copyrighted so easily. I have terrible luck with that. So checking on Justin Allgaier winning stage 1. This is now the 12th stage win of the year for him, and he's in a tight regular season points battle with Cole Custer. And the regular season champion gets an additional 15 playoff points when the playoffs begin. So Allgaier, with getting the stage win, gives him 10 points for the first stage of this race. Cole Custer was 19th. He doesn't get any, so just a 2-point difference going into stage 2 spot in the point standings. Should be seeing our first pit stops of the race tonight, at least for a large majority of the field. They will not be able to make it on field to the end of stage 2 from starting this race. And this will not be the final stop of the night, as they're still well outside the field window with a little less than 70 laps to go. Again, stage 1 and 2, each 30 laps, so we'll race to lap 60 to the end of this next stage now. As we await the next restart. Yeah, Dale Jarrett all alone in the Peacock pit box today. Where's Kyle Petty at this weekend? And Wally Dallenbach, they're both not there. It's odd. He was all alone during qualifying, too. Not sure what the reasoning is for that, to be exact. Yeah, they'll open pit road up this time by, it appears. Again, currently under the stage 1 caution break from lap 30. This is our second caution of the day. We had a 9-car incident on lap 1. In turn 3 was our first caution. SVG pitting a lap early, so we'll have to restart the tail end of the field here. Maybe looking to make even more adjustments. Didn't want to wait another lap. Here come the leaders.
2 points, so be it. But the car still doesn't have any dents. Rolling in the right direction.
And rolling onto pit road now, as we'll see the field make their way onto pit road and to their crews. Kim.
And you'll see Chandler Smith top left. He said, I'm a 2 to 3 number, 2 free down the straight, just no grip, just now there top right. Your stage 1 winner. Despite that, he said, my balance is awful, to be honest. Tight at 3/4 mark, wrecking loose off. I cannot take a push to save my life. They'll look for a big adjustment there, Dave.
AJ Allmendinger needs an adjustment. His car's not bad, just a little free off the corner. He'll get 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
How about Sheldon Creed said his car's a little draggy and free on the bottom. Sam McFauley, his crew chief, said wait. So was that a decision to maybe get it full of fuel? And as they leave pit road, looks like Sammy Smith cannot get going, Rick. He is stuck here at the end of pit road. So we'll have to see what's going on with the 8 car of Sammy Smith, a driver who came in just +1 above the cut line.
Issue with Sammy Smith leaving pit road. Issues with Jesse Love getting into pit road. Oh, man. Very fortunate no crew members were hit.
And they could fit it backwards like that. And they did.
Everywhere but.
So Jesse Love sliding into his pit box. They didn't mention on the broadcast, but it looked like there was some contact with Cole Custer exiting his pit box and actually getting into his teammate's left rear quarter panel of Riley Herbst. Herbst slid the tires just a little bit towards the end of pit road. Looked like there might be a little bit of damage to the nose of the 00. We'll have to wait on the post-commercial break to actually try to break that down a little bit more. But again, in the midst of the Stage 1 caution break here at the Daytona International Speedway in the Wawa 250. Hit that like button on the stream. Subscribe for more NASCAR content if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys on the other side of our next break as you're listening again live right here on KRC. Last week I was AWOL having fun. Had to watch him. A lot of talking about it. Yeah, I haven't noticed him using that before. I mean, obviously when I'm streaming, I don't, check out his streams at the same exact time. But I actually did pop in a little bit on Monday when I had internet service at the racetrack. I didn't have great service on Sunday because there was more people there. And it just overall made the internet slow, obviously, at Michigan International Speedway. Oh, yeah, a lot of damage to the right front of Custer's car. I thought I saw that, right?
On pit road with 00 and also the 98, Marty.
Yeah, teammates actually making contact.
More damage than I thought.
It's like Riley Herbst is going to get the worst of it. There you see the contact there. Custer getting in to Riley Herbst in exactly the wrong spot. In fact, Herbst said, I think my track bar is broken. And then he hit him right on the left rear wheel, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, absolute chaos is right. There have been so many issues. And you see Jesse Love getting spun at the top of your screen.
Ryan Truex, he just missed his stall. He drives his car on a limited basis. He doesn't see that sign every week.
I'm looking around for the full moon.
Yeah.
That was a chaotic pit road sequence, to say the least. There was like 3 or 4 little things that happened along the way there. Yeah, a lot of damage on the 00 of Cole Custer. Way more damage than I thought there was. I saw the dent in the nose, but I didn't realize the whole right front fender was nearly ripped off the car. And obviously the contact with the wheel there for Herbst sounds like he has got a broken track bar potentially as well. Both SHR Fords having some major problems here in this one all of a sudden.
Should have timed it, Marty.
And Davin Restivo just told Riley Herbst the track bar is fine. He thinks it was the left rear tire.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the wheel. You can see literally where that contact was on the wheel, but the track bar is fine for Herbst.
Heavy repairs down a pit road. That front end is completely tore up. They will be going green this time by. Custer's about to lose his lap on pit road currently as the field is about to enter the restart zone. Another lap of caution has been added here. Lights on the pace car. It looked like the pace car was going to be pulling down that last time. But not the case anymore. Custer's still more than likely going to lose a lap here. No, he's actually going to stay in the lead lap. Custer's very fortunate. Custer is very, very fortunate that they did not go green, because if they would have went green at that point in time, he would not be on the lead lap still. And with this added caution, Herbst is back on the pit road again as well.
I think he was expecting the 98 to be further away from him, go out closer to the grass. Let's hear what they had to say.
I didn't even try and get closer to him. I don't know. I didn't feel like I came out very much. Barely hit him. The rally come by, we just tied on it, and when we turned out, it caught him in the middle.
Was he looking at the 44? Because the 44 was right in front of him, and maybe
Well-
looking to his left as opposed to his right.
So I'll be honest, I think they can hit that way 100 different times, and unless that left rear wheel opening catches the front fender, they have dents, but nowhere near the damage like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the contact, but some very eerie contact that peels that nose off the 00. And I'm with you, Jeff. I just think the timing was bad. If I was still on the box calling the 00 out, I'm not sure I think he could accelerate enough to catch the 98. I just think I'm calling him out almost behind the 98 car.
Yeah, it's just a tough call. It's so competitive. Everybody's leaving at the same time.
I just keep going back to Rick. Who does all this chaos benefit?
Yeah.
So if we watch it again, Jonathan Toney, crew chief on the 00, he's calling him out. He's probably saying clear one lane because he's expecting the 98 to launch and go further out to the grass to give them a lane.
But he didn't.
And the 39 of Ryan Sieg having issues. Before he made a stop, he felt like he had a left front flat. And then the steering was off. He felt like they took the tires off. There was a flat spot on the left front. Went back out, said, I still am wiggling. Steering is cocked to the left. They brought him back down. The crew kind of shrugged. Could not find anything.
And they're coming to green. So there's a lot of drivers right now that don't know how their cars are going to handle when we get back to.
All right, green flag back in the air here. Stage 2, lap 7, and overall lap 37 in the race. On the front row for this restart, you got Sam Mayer, who stayed out of the pits there during that caution flag period. Sheldon Creed on the front row with him. 2x2 as the field enters through turns 1 and 2, still trying to get up to speed at this 2.5-mile super speedway oval. Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, is lined up on the inside behind his teammate Sam Mayer, trying to get this lane going. Outside, a little more coordinated with the pushes. Chandler Smith to the back of his teammate Sheldon Creed. Creed clear, but staying with his teammate in that outer lane, not looking to pull to the bottom and control both lanes at the same time. Just worried about trying to stay together with the other JGR Toyota with him. Still showing the points as they run between Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg. Sammy Smith is now plus 11 points to Sieg. Sieg outscored him in the first stage, but now it looks like Sammy Smith higher up in the running order following the restart. Back to 3 wide racing again in the middle of turns 3 and 4. A couple of rows deep as of right now. Kligerman jumps into the middle lane as well, and Allgaier up to protect on the 48. Late move forward, he gets a push now, and Sam Mayer, who was on the outside lane controlling the 81, back down in front of his teammate Allgaier to the double yellow line into turn 3. Lap 9 at the line this time by. Still a long ways to go yet in this one. Very beginning of stage 2 right now in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Daytona. Again, this is the 5th, the last race of the regular season on the Xfinity Series schedule. Race 22 overall out of 33 on the year. Sheldon Creed trying to be a little more aggressive this Kligerman through 1 and 2, and then back to the outside to get the push down the straightaway from his teammate Chandler Smith yet again. Sounds like there's some rain potentially building up on the horizon. It looks like it might be dissipating a little bit on the radar, but we'll have to monitor that as well. If we get at least 50 laps in this race, it will become official at some point if we do get rain on the way. And that could be the reason why these guys have been as aggressive as they have been. A lot of 3-wide racing in this one, despite the fact we're still in the first 40 laps. Sam Mayer on that inside lane, definitely doing a really good job of hanging on in front. We've seen the JGR Toyotas leading that outside lane 1 through 4 at the time, but it seems like they are not able to really control the pack as well as some of the JRM Chevys have been able to do, with Allgaier late in stage 1 winning the first stage, and now Mayer and Allgaier 1-2 at the front of the field here. And get to the outside of them, but it doesn't seem like they're able to really pass clear the 1 and stay out in front of the pack. Haven't seen that at least since this restart over these first 4 or 5 laps, so we didn't really. Another Chevy going to move up in front of the Toyotas on the top, and that's Parker Kligerman in the 48. He was scored second at the start-finish line the last time by, door-to-door with the 7 for second place. So if the Toyotas can't lead to the front of the field, we'll see if another Chevy can take down the other Chevys. On the point, Josh Williams back in the top 5 in the 11 car as well, as he's had a great night so far. He's been top 10 the whole race. Been a rough season for Williams at that Colleague Racing 11 entry this season. Now 3 from his teammate Sam Mayer, and AJ Allmendinger now moves to second. The 16 and the 11 have stayed bumper to bumper with each other for quite a bit in this race. The 11 loses a little bit of time to that 16 car. As the 16 had moved to the outside, the 11 leads the middle group of cars now. Mayer lost the lead with Allmendinger leading that last lap of the line, so AJ back out in front. So Allmendinger in the race lead, 10th of a second over Parker Kligerman in second, 2/10 back in third is Ryan Truex. Sammy Smith is 2/10 back also in fourth. Sheldon Creed 3/10 off the lead in fifth. Josh Williams 3/10 back also in sixth. Chandler Smith 7th, 4/10 of a second off the lead. Also 4/10 back is Brandon Jones in 8th. Justin Allgaier half second off the lead in 9th, and also half second back is Jeb Burton in 10th. Burton did stay on the lead lap, that last lap of stage 1, having that flat right front tire. Done a great job getting back into the top 10 here. 32 cars on the lead lap. The top 19 separated by just 9/10 of a second from each other. And SVG leading that second group of cars about a second and a half off the lead and 20th on back. So 19 cars in the lead draft. And again, stage points on the line through those top 10 positions, just like stage 1 here through stage 2. Allgaier trying to lead the charge on the double yellow line. Mayer in the middle, back to the double yellow line. Only about 6 or 7 cars are down there right now. Plenty more on the outside near the wall. And Mayer side by side with Anthony Alfredo for about 7th place. It's all the further that inside line is for right now. Lap 14 at the line. In the stage, lap 44 entirely. Allmendinger has won an Xfinity race at Daytona. He's going to be going Cup Series racing full-time yet again next season. He did last year with the next-gen car. This year went back to Xfinity full-time, but it looks like he'll be jumping ship again, full-time Cup racing next season for AJ and Colleague Racing. Allgaier Williams going backwards on the bottom lane. They're now leading it. Sam Mayer is able to find a hole on the outside in the 9th place position. Williams trying to slide up in front of Joe Graf Jr. Waited too long. Both he and the 7 continue to lose time as they go to the tail end of this long single file line. Really the first time we've seen the entire lead pack single file in this one. It took 45 laps to get to there out of this 100 lap race. Another NASCAR nonstop commercial break on the USA Network. We'll go through the full field running order here for the first time today while the field is single file in the middle of stage 2. Again, AJ Allmendinger, your race leader. Parker Kligerman is 2nd, Ryan Truex 3rd, Sheldon Creed 4th, and Chandler Smith 5th. Brandon Jones in 6th, Anthony Alfredo 7th, Jesse Love 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, and Sammy Smith in 10th. Jeb Burton in 11th, 12th for Riley Herbst, Blaine Perkins 13th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 14th, Joe Graf Jr. 15th, Kyle Weatherman 16th, Jeremy Clement 17th, Josh Williams 18th, Justin Allgaier 19th, and Jordan Anderson is in 20th. Shane Van Gisbergen in 21st, Parker Retzlaff 22nd, 23rd for Josh Bilicki, 24th for Patrick Emmerling. Brandon Poole 25th, 26th for Leland Honeyman, Joey Gase 27th, Cesar Baccarella 28th, Matt DiBenedetto 29th, and Ryan Sieg 30th. Kyle Sieg 31st, CJ McLaughlin last car in the lead lap 32nd. Cole Custer 1 lap down in 33rd. He's the only car a lap down, as he should get the free pass at the stage end. As long as he doesn't lose another lap, he'll get back on the lead lap that way. And everybody from 34th on back is out of the race as of right now. Austin Hill, 26 laps down, 34th. Tim Vaines, 35th. Gustine, 36th. Ryan Ellis, 37th. And Akinori Ogata, 38th. That rounds out the field. Other race stats to this point, again, 2 cautions, stage end at lap 30, lap 1, turn 3, 9-car incident. Most laps led to this point is for AJ Allmendinger. This time by at the line, he'll lead the most laps as of this point in the race. 16 laps will have been led by AJ at the line this time. Chandler Smith has led for 15 laps, 2 different times for him. AJ's led 4 different times. Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, has led for 10 laps, 6 laps led for Sam Mayer, 1 lap for Jesse Love. 5 different drivers have led in this one, 9 lead changes thus far here at the Daytona International Speedway. Our current average race speed is 116.44 miles an hour. We're a little less than an hour from the start of the race to where we are currently. Again, you're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Wawa 250.
Special unmatched on-track presents in triple header playoff action to ratchet up the stakes. Throwing a can't-miss concert, champion, and the legendary atmosphere of Talladega Boulevard. And you've got more than a race. You've got Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
My pre-show is coming. We're ready to go right there. Right now, make sure to join NASCAR's free rewards program. For free tickets, there's exclusive gear, autographed merchandise, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards. We had mentioned how well Toyota was doing in qualifying. Let's take a look now at the Toyota driver update. Ryan Truex running in that 3rd spot. Sheldon Creed is 4th. Chandler Smith 5th. Jeff Earnhardt 13th. Joe Graf Jr. in 14th as they're running, closing in on the halfway point of this race. Just how quickly it goes, and you see that single file line, and Allmendinger took him up there, and everybody jumped in and realized that if they weren't in that top line, they were going to get left behind.
12 laps to go in this stage. Somebody is eventually going to make a move. And everybody is afraid to be the first, because if you make a move and nobody goes with you or not enough go with you, then you're going to end up at the back of this. And also everybody's afraid not to make a move, because if the inside line goes and you don't.
That bright yellow car in 6th place is Brandon Jones. His crew chief, Philip Bell, told me this afternoon we've been unloading mostly fast cars with mostly disappointing results. Jones told me earlier today he believes that this and the next couple of tracks are ones that he can win at. He plans to and has to do that to get to the playoffs, Kim.
And speaking of tracks teams can win at, Parker Kligerman and his team have this circle as well as Atlanta. So I asked Parker how he approaches this from kind of the hopes is that if you work someone and help them, that they will reciprocate. He said there is no guarantee. He chooses to work with certain drivers, hoping that in an effort working with them, that they will return to favor. And right now, he told his team to tell AJ, we are just riding currently in the 2nd position, Marty.
Jim, 10 to go here in stage 2, and there's a good chance that the current regular season championship leader Cole Custer could go down a 2nd lap here at Daytona. It is crazy to think that going into the Michigan race last week, Custer had the largest regular season points lead anyone had all year in 2 races. Jeff Burton, that shows you how quickly things can change here in NASCAR.
And things have changed on the track as well as the inside lane started to form. Jeff Burton. Wait, that 7th or 8th. He was the first one to.
It's all over the place. Hold the line, Jeb.
At 27.
Chandler Smith pulled down and didn't get the line. That killed his opportunity. He's now back behind the 27 and the 20. Ryan Truex says, all right, I'm going to lead this bottom lane.
Sure, y'all.
Like 1 lap. It went to the top in 2 laps, and it went back to double file in about 1 lap.
So if you're Parker Kligerman in this situation that he is in as far as points, needing points, do you stay in line?
Well, it worked with the first stage, and I agree with that. I think that he doesn't have to win these stages. So as long as you continue to have help like this, where guys continue to jump up top, the 48 just needs to be patient and stay in that line.
Yeah, what you can't do though is you can't get lazy and not protect the back. You can't let them put you three wide. Somebody drive underneath you, and now you're the only guy on the outside.
See from the state water heaters on board, Bird still trying to keep that inside line running, Jeff.
Yeah. He's the first one that jumped out there, and then others tried to be the guy that was in front of him. It got real aggressive.
Chandler Smith right behind him in the 81. That inside line still trying to find some definition. Only 4 cars down there right now as we're coming up on 7 laps still in stage 2.
I don't know if it's enough cars committed to running the bottom to make it work.
I'll give the 7 credit, though. He is a side drafted machine.
Running along with Sheldon Free, thanks to Toyota. And right now, Free, 4th car in line on this outside, but Allgaier's doing a lot of work on his own up here.
Look at that. Steve talked about how aggressive the side drafts are.
Trying to back up that 48. Now Allgaier in his 5th. Dave, what about the 20 up front?
Really good. The only problem so far, that spin on pit road. No contact there, just on his own. But trying to win for the second time in only his 8th start this season is Ryan Truex. The car was a little bit tight. They made a chassis adjustment that first time down pit road, and he's leading them.
Allgaier cannot get enough help as now Riley Herbst is behind him. All right, let's listen in to Burton's radio.
What the?
Well, he's frustrated. He's right behind him.
Well, that was mentioned in that 81 either following, but I think what it was when the 27 had to run on the bottom, the 81 jumped out of line too late. So he's at the position where they had to kind of lift to not wreck, and it killed the bottom lane momentum. I think that's what that radio is referring to. I think he's already frustrated with the 81.
Allgaier is fighting. He's on the inside now for the lead. Drifts back as they cross the start-finish line. Under 5 to go now.
98's to his rear bumper. That's going to push him forward. He's going to be on the lower line, so he's going to make some roundups right here. What does he do with it? So does he jump to the outside line, or does he stay on the bottom?
I think Allmendinger loves this. Let the 20 go down and block the bottom. See if that upper lane can get a little bit of a run. Now I like what the 20 is doing. Top down the straightaways, bottom in the corner.
There comes the 7 again. He gets to the inside. Will he have enough help? Can he clear the 20? He does. Now, which line will he go to when they come out of turn 4? Drifts up the racetrack right in front of Ryan Truex.
And all that as a result of all of that side drafting the 7 did. That hard work he put in to keep the location on the racetrack.
I'm going to give a tip of the cap to the owner of this team. I think Allgaier has learned a lot from the way Dale Jr. used to race. Allgaier out in front. Truex behind him, Allmendinger, and then Parker Kligerman.
Watch 98 right here. He's going to get a big push into turn 3. Oh, got loose in there.
Now, maybe a little too big of a push.
98 ended stage 1 with contact and with his teammate on pit road, had to pit multiple times. Recovered all the way back to this position.
Allgaier was able to block. There's 3 laps to go in stage 2.
Let's see if that 98 and the 27 can make that work again. They timed it exactly right getting into turn 3.
Parker Kligerman drifting up toward the wall. Outside line in the 48. Here comes Ryan Truex again in the 20. Allgaier sees it, goes up to block. Now the inside line has some momentum. 98 of Hurst.
Sorry, Rick, he's clear. Now he decides to go to the outside. Now back behind the 7. Now trying to get the lead.
2 to go. Allgaier is working his tail off out here. The 98 stays up high. Is that going to allow Jeff Burton to get a little bit of a run here on the bottom of the track?
Not the push from Chandler Smith that Jed's looking for. Going the wrong way.
There's the momentum on that outside line, and Ryan Truex moves out. So he does not give a push to the 98 of Herbst. Kligerman drifts up the track. Creed gets right up to the back bumper. Coming up on one.
Oh!
One car, the one of Sam Mayer, spins on the apron, and the caution's going to come out before the end of the stage. It looks like the 5 of Anthony Alfredo may have got into the wall, sure enough. See him dragging the splitter.
Called it, Rick. Starts with the 5 of Alfredo. You're going to see him back right there. Looks like a big wiggle. Was getting a push. Maybe lost the back of the race car. Off the nose of the 1. Then the 1 loses control himself. Goes for a big slide. Ends up saving it. Yeah, you see right there. The 1 is, oh, I'm sorry, the 2. Jesse Love. Those cars look so similar. The 2 of Jesse Love is just to the inside, the left rear quarter of Alfredo. And here, this will be a great view.
Yeah, up the racetrack. Contact. And then behind them, I think Sam Mayer saw it happening and responded. Watch Sam. He's like, oh, they're going to wreck. And he does something and loses control of his car. Never actually spun the thing out, but lost a lot of track position.
This is going to end the stage under caution, and so that will mean a sweep of stage 1 and 2 for Allgaier. That's the 15th time that Allgaier has swept the stages. Problem with that statistic, he's only won 3 of those.
Ooh. 3 of the 15, that's tough.
But it's Allgaier getting the stage 2 win.
Well, there's a stat line you don't want to hear if you're just an Allgaier fan. He's only won 3 of the 15 previous races that he has won, both Stage 1 and Stage 2 in a race. Stage wins number 12 and 13 on the season as he adds to an already, obviously, season high compared to any other driver in the field. We still have 4 more races left in the regular season after tonight's race, and well, he won at Darlington last time he was there, getting a sweep of the stages and winning the race last season, so that could be the case again here this year also. So Justin Allgaier under the caution flag is going to go on to win Stage 2 here tonight. Riley Herbst ends up 2nd, Roger Kligerman 6th, Sheldon Creed 7th, Chandler Smith 8th, Brandon Jones 9th, and Josh Williams ends up 10th. There's your Stage 2 results here at the Daytona International Speedway. Yeah, 20 points in the stages for Allgaier, 0 for Custer. Custer did not lose a second lap before that caution, so he will be back on the lead lap with the free pass with this yellow coming out. Again, Custer sits in the 33rd place position. So he'll be back on the lead lap. Every car that remains in this race right now, not including Austin Hill, will be on the lead lap. Hill 25 laps down in 34th. And we should be seeing the final pit stops of the race coming up here this time. Pit under fuel during this stage break. You should be able to make it to the end, barring any obviously a lot of cars still in this race. Like I mentioned, 33 of them will be on the lead lap. A 9-car incident all the way back on lap 1. Ogata, Ellis, Dean, Vanes, and Hill were the only ones that got knocked well off the lead lap of the 5 of the 9 from that accident, and only 4 of which had actually DNF'd. So again, this will be the when these teams come onto pit road this time. Wreckfest incoming? I sure hope not. We'll hope for the best. It's like Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s pit boxes will be embedded with the NBC telecast tomorrow night. Race will be on your local NBC affiliate. Again, tonight's race on the USA Network. Truck race Sunday afternoon at Milwaukee will be on Fox Sports 1.
Action. As the field now at the conclusion of stage 2, making their way onto pit road, Kim.
Justin Allgaier sweeping both stages said, I don't need anything balance-wise, but I can't be found up. I can't do what I want traffic. My exit traffic is not as good as everybody else. Jim Coleman telling me I might take a little track position away because we want to do 4 tires, dude.
Ryan Truex in the 20 car likes the balance of his race car. Just 2 right side tires. He's already gone. J.J. Allgaier said, my car is freaking loose. I need a big adjustment. There goes the wrench in the rearview window. 4 tires for him, Marty.
What a stage for Riley Hopes, who drove from 31st to 2nd. He said, I need just a little bit more front grip. They waited a little bit on fuel, but it was just 2 tires for Riley Hopes.
One stage remaining at Daytona where stop.
All right, so here we go, getting set up for our final stage. We'll have to wait for the leaderboard to update and to get back to the start-finish line the next time by. The current leaderboard that you see right now is based off of when they hit the timing line on pit road. And when the race leader gets to the start-finish line at the end of every lap, that is when the time and scoring updates on the raw feed that we always use right here on, of course, NASCAR.com's website. So again, be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live NASCAR commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup races as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Appreciate everybody tuning in for both of our doubleheader for streams today. The Xfinity Series race right now and that Cup qualifying stream earlier. There's no practice for any of the Cup or Xfinity Series teams here for this weekend, because it was scheduled that way from before the season started. We'll take another ad break before we get back to green flag action for Stage 3. I think Herbst only got credited with that lap led on pit road, which would have been his first lap led of the day, but he has not led a green flag lap in this race yet. Ryan Truex will be the leader on the restart. His JGR teammate Sheldon Creed will be in second. Well, Leland Honeyman up in the top 5 right now. Brandon Poole also in the top 5. May we see an upset winner here tonight at Daytona for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Time to close the poll that is open in the chat as we are at the end of Stage 2 tonight. 74 votes were casted. As to who you thought was going to win today's race, 44% taking somebody other than Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, or Jesse Love here tonight. Sheldon Creed, highest voting of the other 3 at 25%. 17% with Austin Hill, who is not going to have a shot of winning tonight's race, well off the lead lap. And Jesse Love with only 12% of the votes, his only career win at Talladega earlier this season. But he's led a lot of laps on the super speedway races at Atlanta, Daytona, as well as that Dega race. Now help from his teammate, though. Love has been in the top 10 all night, but hasn't really led any laps. No laps led, in fact, for Jesse Love to this point. So we're not seeing an RCR car dominate this race like we saw back in the spring with Hill and Love, and again, Hill and or Love at Talladega and Atlanta as well.
Into the playoffs or to add some playoff points to their resume tonight.
Steve, should we get all nervous because both drivers have now either called a crash that was going to happen or going to get wild?
Well, that's really all the after effects of all the speedway racing they've done. They know what these things look like as you see the Gibbs teammate of Truex and Creed decide to stick together at the bottom. That's something we'll point out more and more as we get later in this race with the choose. All these drivers think they're good on fuel. You heard all guys shutting it off, saving some gas, mostly for overtimes. Jesse Love as well, doing a little coast right here.
Dave, what about Shane Van Gisbergen?
Back on pit road, checking the left side up. Crew member Turbo is jumping underneath there just to check one more thing. They've been checking things all night. The car just doesn't feel good to SVG, so they try to make sure that everything that they can check and check off is right. Tim?
Parker Kugelman is a little bit busy under this caution. During that stop, he had the team tape a tool, a nut driver, onto his water bottle and pass it through to him because his small side mirror inside the car has come loose. So he was going to take the tool off of the water bottle to tighten that mirror himself. And sounds like everything is good to go for Parker.
Little maintenance being done by Parker while he's tooling around here at over 55 miles an hour.
Man, you don't want the driver to have to do the warranty work. You want that done by the crew.
That's a great point.
What do you do with the wrench?
What's the red?
Done.
Well,
Does that get
you can either
thrown out?
rattle around or you're going to have to buy a new one because it's somewhere on the apron on the backstretch.
Those things are expensive. Put it in the rocker barrel.
Good first two stages, though, for Parker Kligerman. 11 points. That's a plus, obviously, coming into this race. He wants to get every point he possibly can, helping him to possibly get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Ryan C, you see at 13, he has not gotten any points tonight.
As we get ready for the restart, we're actually going to listen into the two spotter, of Jess Love, and that is Brandon Benesh.
Following. Ready. Great. Quarter in front of the quarter. Lanes are tight. I'll get back there. Yeah. Clear if you wanted it. Half in front. Got it back up here. They're separated. They're locked in front of ship roll. Locked in front of ship roll. 19 close it to you. 19 close it to you. Half in front now. Half in front. I'm going to back up, or I'll broke up till 98. You're clear. 2 by 2 in your mirror. I'm still backing up. 19 clear with you on the bottom. Then they're 2 by 2. 2 rows of 2 by 2 are in that second lane. Then they're 3 by 3. 98, 16, 27, 39, working through the middle, 2 back. 19 shades are shut them off here. Yep. 3 by 3 behind the 19. 16 dragging it. You've got momentum in the bottom half. Order through the middle.
And it's going from 2 wide to 3 wide. And a big move there by Creed. He couldn't block that big run by Chandler Smith in the 81. And now Creed is going to drop back on the inside line. No help behind him.
AJ Allmendinger ran up behind Creed. He had a huge run getting into turn 3. Had to do something with it. Went to the outside line.
Creed following nobody, getting behind him and helping him out. It's Truex and Chandler Smith still door to door as they work their way around this 2.5 mile super speedway. The free pass went to the 0-0 of Cole Custer. And so now, after being a lap down before the end of the stage, Cole Custer's running in the top 10.
I bet Steve, we just saw him. We just talked about him not having any points so far tonight. Now all of a sudden he's emerged at the front of this pack, running in third. Made a massive run on Jeb Burton. Jeb blocked him. Sieg is not going to be denied this time.
Sieg doesn't have to worry about points if he gets to victory lane. Locked himself into the playoffs that way. The 20 car of Joe Gibbs Racing has been phenomenal in 2024. 5 different drivers, 4 of them have won. John Hunter Nemechek has won twice behind the wheel of that 20. Ryan Truex has already won. He won at Dover earlier this year.
How about the 5 of Alfredo? We saw him make contact with.
Oh!
Brandon Jones in the concrete, the asphalt there, and does he stay up the wall? He will, and he's trying to stay out of the grass.
And Jones is very thankful that all that's fresh pavement. That would have been grass years ago.
And so he slid.
They're good right here. Don't pit it right here.
Oh, I disagree. I would pit right now. The back are on interliners.
This all happened down the back straightaway. People running into the back of each other. Brandon Jones just never could get caught back up. And Steve, you mentioned it. All of this is asphalt. Never once got in the grass. That allowed him to get the car slowed down. Bump right there, another bump. Now he's out of control. And fortunately, there was a place for him to go in that bottom lane. Normally, there's a car there.
Yes.
And it causes a 15-car wreck. But in this case, the seas parted and down the racetrack he goes.
That was Jesse Love we were riding along with that was behind the 9. But I think Jesse Love had guys pushing him from behind, too.
And you have to give credit, I think, to the 97, who right here, he's off the gas, obviously, because he's on the bottom and backing up. So SVG sees the 9, has to cross traffic at some point, and he's slowing down to give him a spot to go.
I love the fact that all that is now asphalt. I mean, there used to be grass down there. He probably destroys his race car. Now he just gets down here. Probably no damage whatsoever.
I think the 9 had a flat tire on the straightaway. I think right here, the reason he's looked like he's being wrecked is because he's trying to slow down. You see sparks off the car already. The left rear looks to me like it's flat
Maybe.
already before he goes for the spin.
Looks like it's been rubbed for sure.
Yeah.
So right there it starts wiggling. I thought it was because he was then being people make contact with him from behind, but you're thinking it's the left rear. I suspect you're right.
I'm thinking it's a left rear, but it's hard to say which came first.
So Jones brings out the 4th caution of the night. We're going to take another look at it.
Look at that. Look how fortunate that is. Not just for him, but for all of those guys. It's a place for him to go. That happened so quickly. I mean, everything's going great. Next thing you know, you're trying to catch up to the back of the car. And when he started left, he knew he was going to be in a wreck. Like, he knew there was no way he wasn't going to be contacted. So check it out. This is last year versus this year. Look at all of this grass. What's now asphalt. And so many times we would see a car run through the grass, then get on the asphalt, then get back in the grass and damage the car. This time he just rolled through that asphalt and slowed it down. Great job, Daytona International Speedway, for making that additional asphalt.
Dave.
Rick, they asked Brandon Jones what he felt. Here's what he said.
That's just a bad push, you think? They just get you crossed up. It was a flat for sure. I started smelling it like it was pretty terrible.
Jeff Burton, you can smell a flat coming, can't you?
Well, Steve saw it before any of us, and he had it right. And it's pretty interesting for Brandon. He says he could smell it. You could smell the tire. Clearly, it was a rub for it to. I'm going to smell it like that.
Listen, I know it hasn't been the 9th year, 119 points below the cut line, but to have a flat tire in the top lane of 2 wide down the backstretch of Daytona and still be rolling around under yellow, maybe it's the 9's night. Maybe that's a sign that the seas are going to part and he's going to work his way back up there because he had some good fortune. And I'm telling you, I want to give credit to SVG. We talk a lot about the learning curve, but he saw it coming. He is 4 wide on the bottom, slowing down, giving the 9 a place to wreck. He knows the 9 is in trouble. You know, that's an experienced move, Jeff. I've seen a lot more experienced race car drivers kind of stay in that hole.
Quite a few making their way onto pit road, including Sheldon Creed and SVG, Dave.
So he'll come to pit road here for one more look at the 97, make sure they've got it where they need it to be. And also, if they have tires left, that's what I was just wondering. Yeah, they're going to go to the right side there and put fresh rights on, and it looks like lefts as well, Marty.
Dave, on the Stage 3 restart, Sheldon Creed started pretty far towards the front of the field, but then lost all of his track position. He was 16th with Sam McCall. He said, do you want tires to try and come back up through the field? Sheldon said, I will leave it up to you. So they take that option. Fresh good years for Sheldon Creed. Also, Cole Custer here on pit road, still trying to fix the nose of that race car, but they did stay on the lead lap. They never got lapped one more time, got the free pass again, and actually they were racing in the top 10, even with that damaged race car. Jonathan Tony making the call to come down and fix that up a little bit more.
So the caution comes out for Brandon Jones, and very lucky that this was just a one-car incident, and he is still rolling here at Daytona. We'll have a race go. Here's the turn.
Under a commercial break with the caution out late in this race. Single car incident for Brandon Jones in the number 9. A spin on the backstretch headed towards turn 3. Kind of a lazy spin in the sense that he didn't hit anything, didn't damage the car, having to go through any grass. So Jones will continue on the lead lap here, just getting a fresh set of tires on pit road. Several others at the tail end of the lead lap also came down to pit, as well as taking on 4 fresh tires if they have another set, just because they do have those at their expense. Free pass goes to Austin Hill. He was the only car on track that isn't on the lead lap, but he's still 24 laps down. Don't think we're going to get 24 more yellows in this one. That's going to allow him to get back on the lead lap. Basically, at this point, he's just hoping that he lasts longer than anybody else to gain more positions and more points in the standings. 1 point per position, of course, in his finishing results. Ryan Truex is your current race leader under the caution with 28 laps to go. We'll take a break here before we get back to the race start. You're listening live to the Wawa 250 at Daytona for the NASCAR Xfinity Series right here live on KRC. The 52 likes on the stream currently, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. We'll go through the full field running order prior to this next restart. Again, Ryan Truex leads, Chandler Smith second, AJ Allmendinger is third, Parker Kligerman fourth, Joe Graff Jr. fifth, Ryan Sieg sixth, Anthony Alfredo seventh. And that's even with a little damage towards the end of stage 2. Riley Herbst eighth, Kyle Weatherman ninth, and Jeffrey Earnhardt is 10th. Sammy Smith 11th, Jeb Burton 12th, Justin Allgaier 13th, Jesse Love 14th, Blaine Perkins 15th, Josh Williams 16th, CJ McLaughlin 17th, Josh Bilicki 18th, Sam Mayer 19th, and Matt DiBenedetto is 20th. Kyle Segan 21st, Leland Honeyman 22nd, Parker Retzlaff 23rd, Cesar Baccarilla 24th, Sheldon Creed 25th, Brennan Poole 26th, Patrick Emmerling 27th, Shane Van Gisbergen 28th, Jordan Anderson 29th, and Jeremy Clements 30th. Brandon Jones 31st, Joey Gase 32nd, Cole Custer 33rd is the last car in the lead lap. 24 laps down on track is Austin Hill 34th. And 4 drivers out of the race thus far. Tim Vaines will finish in 35th, Gustine 36th, Ryan Ellis 37th, Akinori Ogata 38th. AJ Allmendinger has led the most laps so far in the race. 20 laps led for him. He's led the most times, 4. 16 laps led for stage 1 and 2 winner Justin Allgaier. 16 for Chandler Smith, the pole sitter, for Sam Mayer. 6 different drivers have led at least 1 lap in the race today. 14 lead changes and 4 cautions now in the race. Green flag back in the air, stage 3, 27 laps to go at Daytona. Ryan Truex bottom of the front row for the restart, getting a push from his teammate Chandler Smith. 19 of Taylor Gray also down on the bottom groove, so 3 Joe Gibbs Toyotas are down there. Kligerman, another Chevy. Pushing, of course, the 16. Ryan Sieg up in the top half dozen as well. He's the 3rd car in line on the outside. Highest running 4 just ahead of Herbst. Getting up to speed. Back straightaway. 2 by 2. Nobody pulling out 3 wide right now at least. Allmendinger with a push again is clear into turns 3 and 4. The 48 also clear for 2nd if he chooses to pull down in front of the 20. But going to stay consistent at least for right now in the restart and stay to the outside near the wall. Kligerman's done a great job tonight. He's been running top 5 at the end of each of the first couple stages. Looking to capitalize and potentially get a race win. That'd be one way to lock himself into the playoffs. Then he won't have to worry about points for the next several races. Another driver, though, in that bubble battle in the point standings, Ryan Sieg, is right there with him in the top 3. So Kligerman and Allmendinger down to the bottom to cover the Toyotas on the inside line, leaving Ryan Sieg to lead the outside with Anthony Alfredo in the 5 car behind him. Alfredo, another driver looking for his first win of the season. There are no Cup Series regulars in the field in tonight's race, and very few part-time Xfinity drivers, so most of these drivers in the field tonight are running for Xfinity Series points, and a win would grant them a playoff spot if, of course, they're not one of the 8 drivers who have won so far this season. Very tight nose to tail, top 3 positions across the stripe that last time. 3/4 of the way home, 75 laps down, 25 to go at Daytona. Allmendinger trying to get his second career Daytona win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He won this very night race just a couple seasons ago. Kligerman looking for his very first career win in the Xfinity Series. Ryan Truex in a part-time role, trying to go for his second win of the season. 48 getting really loose down that back straightaway with the 39 of Sieg pushing him. Stays in line. That's going to discoordinate the outside just a bit. Another big run for the Joe Gibbs cars on the bottom of Truex and Graff rather. Off of turn 4, this time by 3 wide for about the back 4 rows of this lead pack. At the line that time by, tough to tell who led the lap between Truex and Allmendinger. Down towards turn 1, we've got a crash. The 2 of Jesse Love's around Jeb Burton. Parker Retzlaff, both the Jordan Anderson cars are up near the wall. And Brandon Jones involved with heavy contact as well. A little bit bigger of a crash than what we saw back on lap 1 as the caution flag is out with 24 laps remaining at Daytona. Sammy Smith with huge damage.
He's in this battle to make the playoffs.
All rear damage, guys.
I'm sorry, Sammy Smith.
A lot of sparks coming out from behind that car. There's Matt DiBenedetto. We saw a lot of these cars running that middle line. Parker Retzlaff, he's got the window net down, about ready to climb out of that car.
Let's see right here. Kind of gets stacked up in the back. A little bit of movement. Push gone wrong. 8 goes around, catches Jeff Burton.
Jeb Burton's been a wrecking ball tonight.
31 back up the racetrack. Pretty hard contact with the right rear and the right front.
He almost caused a couple incidences, and he caused this one.
Involved.
Well, the 7,
There you have it.
I don't want to say that entirely. The 8 kind of pinched him off a little bit.
And then the the 8. Then the 8 gets taken 3 wide.
Yeah, the 8 did pinch him off quite a bit there.
Replay.
Pardon my first take.
Here's Jesse Love across the racetrack.
The hits just keep coming.
Yeah, wrecks seem to last forever.
That was Cole Custer that he pulled right up behind.
And remember, this is about 190 miles per hour. You're right here. You see the 27. He's trying to get to the outside of the 8. The 8's top 3 wide with the 81, and there's just not enough room for the 8 to come up. And I can't say from this angle what's behind the 27, right? There might be someone right behind him. Jeb might not want to be. Because the 27 and the 81 are splitting the 8. The 8 comes up to the right, catches the front bumper of the 27, and that's where the wreck starts. Yeah, so how much damage does Sammy Smith have? See contact with the wall, but did anybody else hit him? Great job right there.
Sheldon Creed, wow. And I'm not so sure the 00 ends up getting any damage here. I think he just ends up having to stop. We got into the side of the 38. Riding along with Jeff.
Everybody knows, right? You're inside 25 to go.
They're all looking for some real estate. When you get stacked 2 and 3 wide, you have to almost create a different line to try to move through. Heavy damage on the right front not turning. Morning.
Rick Adam Wall has asked Sammy Smith to shut the car off as they try to fix the right front, but it's going to be a healthy repair here as damage control for the 8 team. They were in a position where they were right at the cut line with Ryan Sieg virtually tied or 1 point behind, depending on what lap it was. And now all the damage here to the 8 car. So obviously massive implications here for the Xfinity Series playoffs. If they can get this 8 fixed and try and complete as many laps as they can, they could earn more points. But there you see right now, 18 below the cut line for Sammy Smith.
And we want to remind you, different schedules for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Cup Series, they've only got 2 races to go before the playoff starts. The Xfinity Series still have 4 races remaining before the end of the regular season and the playoffs get underway. A lot of work going into that 8 car.
Well, this is your fear. When points get close, you don't want to be here. When you have ground to make up, you love coming here because these things can happen. But this is the thing that Sammy Smith and this team, they didn't want. You know, they just can't afford to be in these accidents.
Remaining 4 races, Darlington next week, then it's Atlanta. Again, Atlanta has now become a drafting racetrack, even though it's a mile and a half. Watkins Glen, the road course, and then Bristol.
You know, the night race at Bristol's always so calm. Nothing ever goes crazy there. That's quite a finish to their regular season.
More damage to the 00 as he is stopped on pit road. They continue to work on that car. He had just gotten his lap back. And then this incident happens with 22 laps to go at Daytona. 5 cautions already. Still out front, though, AJ Allmendinger.
All right, so out in front again, as you heard there, AJ Allmendinger, 21 laps to go at Daytona after a crash headed towards turn 1 end of the front stretch involving quite a few race cars. Drivers involved in this most recent crash include Jesse Love, Cole Custer, Jeb Burton, Parker Retzlaff, Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones, Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Sieg, as well as Cesar Baccarella. Those were all the drivers that were involved in this accident. Several of them now out of the race following the crash. The ones that we know right now that are out of the race initially are Retzlaff, Custer, DiBenedetto, Sammy Smith off the lead lap at the very least. The others that were involved in the crash going to try to continue on. They're currently under the DVP clock and have 7 minutes to try to make repairs to their race cars and try to meet minimum speed once the green flag will be back underway. Yeah, I just took a look at CeeLo's stream like during this. There's no way that at least in my eyes, I mean, obviously he's, getting away with the stream, as it is. Like when I was there was a hard cam from like an aerial shot of Daytona at the top on like cars on pit road, making adjustments following this crash. I don't know if like it showed the actual crash happen on the, feed he was in. I just figured I'd check it out. I didn't realize he had over 100,000 views on the Michigan race last week. That's insane. I kind of feel a little chumped out, to be completely honest, but I greatly appreciate everybody that is tuning into this stream here once again tonight, supporting the channel with another live commentary stream. 20 to go under the yellow still. Sam Mayer coming to pit row with several others, it looks like, to top off on fuel. Maybe change tires.
For Sam Mayer and Marty Lindley, they're going to come down pit road. The car is really not handled quite the way that Sam Mayer has wanted after the issue in qualifying earlier today. And where they were, they're going to come in and try and take tires here. They were 16th at the time, so you got to wonder, Dave, if these fresh Goodyear tires will help them maybe come through the field a little bit better.
Team 97 had a set left, so they said, let's bring it down. Let's make one more adjustment. Let's put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on there and see what Shane can do. Remember, tonight is all about learning for this driver who is so unfamiliar to lots of things NASCAR, especially this type of racing. You can see now working on the left side for that final little adjustment, trying to get the car right for Shane Van Gisbergen.
It all really hit home, Rick, on the radio for the last Speedway race. They told SVG, he's 3 feet off your bumper, and he said, I don't know how far 3 feet.
You got to speak in meters, my friend. Well, New Zealand. And again, this caution brings us to another restart. Return.
Prime time racing at Daytona for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Again, still under caution. 20 laps left. We'll have, obviously, a couple less than that at the very least when we get back to racing here. Still 29 cars are scheduled to be on the lead lap. Average race speed has dropped down to 112.73 miles per hour, as we're a little over an hour, 40 minutes from the drop of the green flag to get through these first 80 laps of tonight's race. 200 miles complete, another 50 still to go. Allgaier finishes top 5 here, potentially have a huge points lead. Yeah, honestly, with Custer having the problems he has had, Custer's out of the race now. He had 0 stage points tonight. Allgaier won the first 2 stages, so already 20 stage points to 0 for the double 0. Came into the race minus 12, so he would have been plus 8 points going into the final stage. So he'll be ahead of Custer in the point standings by however many positions ahead of him he will finish, plus another 8 points. Custer is scored 31st as of right now. Austin Hill, who was not involved in that incident, may be able to surpass everybody that was involved in that wreck, that DNF'd, in the finishing order and help him out, get a few extra points here. It'd be close, which means that he should get by him in the running order with a lap or 2 left in the race, even if we don't go to overtime. Which means it's going to be a lot harder for him to gain more positions than that, considering we don't have as many laps left in the race unless we see a bunch of overtimes, which is not impossible. We've seen that happen several times over the years in truck and Xfinity races, especially at Daytona. But in this very Xfinity race, a summer event, we've seen that a lot over the last several years since it has been pushed back later in the regular season. Take another break before the restart. Again, you're listening live to the Wawa 250 at Daytona for the NASCAR Xfinity Series live on KRC. 57 likes on the stream now. We surpassed what we did earlier during the qualifying stream. I don't think 5 p.m. Eastern on a Friday is an optimal time to stream more often than not, but greatly appreciate, again, everybody tuning in for both of our doubleheader. Back in action this weekend. I was absent last week at the Michigan International Speedway on Sunday and Monday for the Cup Series portion of the race. Sure to check out the highlight videos that were uploaded later those nights if you had not checked them out yet. We will still have coverage the rest of the weekend. Our Cup Series race tomorrow will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern. Truck Series at Milwaukee Mile Sunday afternoon. Our coverage then at 4 p.m. Eastern for the next couple days of live commentary content right here on the channel. Lights are out on the pace car. They're going to be going green this time by. We will have 18 laps to go on the restart. AJ Allmendinger outside of row 1. Parker Kligerman inside of row 1. Green flag back in the air. Can AJ hold on to win another one at Daytona? Allgaier won the first 2 stages inside of row 4. Look out for him. The RCR cars have had problems with accidents today, and the heavy hitters are no longer in this race. Well, Jesse Love's still in the race. He's on the tail end of the lead lap for the restart, but he does have damage from the last crash. And Hill, as mentioned already, about 24 laps off the lead lap from damage he had on a lap 1 incident. Quite a few cars on the lead lap still, 29 of them to be exact on the restart. A lot of pushing in the bottom lane between Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg. The 48-16 moved to the bottom to cover the 39 into 3 and 4 as the cars are up to speed on the restart following the exit of turn 4. Allmendinger leads the first green flag lap following this restart, 17 laps remaining at Daytona. Marker Kligerman in the 48 is there. Looks to go to the bottom, 39 already there. Evasive action by the 48 of Kligerman. And that broke the momentum and allowed for Ryan Truex to get underneath the 48. Stalled out the outside quite a bit. Truex going for the lead through 3 and 4. The 16 of Allmendinger all the way down the track to try to side draft Truex in the 20. And they stay dead locked tight down the back straightaway. Alfredo and Seed kind of hopping out of line, not going to give the 20 car a big push. Truex leading up to the side draft to try to stay door-to-door for the lead into turn 3, and he's not able to do so. AJ is clear again. And Allmendinger should lead this lap at the line. 16 to go. The laps are counting down quickly here at Daytona. No three-wide action from the restart to this point. Still pretty much gridlock 2-2. Or 2-2. Now into turns 1 and 2. A lot more cars up in this lead pack now. A lot less hanging out all the way at the back. We had seen 15 to 20 cars in the lead draft throughout the whole night. Not the case anymore. Currently 26 cars separated by just one. See, kind of got hung out to dry on the double yellow line as he got split around by a lot of cars going to his outside in that middle and obviously the upper lane near the wall. See, falls out of the top 10 quickly. Allgaier's the third car in the bottom lane now. All of a sudden, he's in the top 5 once more. Anthony Alfredo got the second. Could have pulled up to the outside in front of AJ and Parker, but did not do so. And Truex staying on the bottom lane with the 5, even though they weren't really working well together that last time down the front stretch. The 5 going up to try to side draft the left rear corner panel of the 48. Now getting a big push from Justin Allgaier. Anthony Alfredo and the Dude Wipes 5 machine to the back bumper of the 20. Doesn't lock bumpers with him headed into turn 1. But the 20 still keeping pace on the shortest route around the racetrack through 1 and 2. And stays side by side again for the race lead off turn 4. This time by at the start-finish line, it'll be Truex leading this lap by inches over Allmendinger. 14 to go at Daytona. A lot of pushing. That 7 is all over the back bumper. Got to be careful not to lock bumpers for too long and get black flagged for that here in this Xfinity series. The same for the trucks when they do race at the super speedways. Although I haven't really seen that penalty really come into fruition at all. I don't know exactly what the determination from NASCAR is to what is bump drafting, by bump rather than locking bumpers, because it seems like they almost lock bumpers more often than not, and they still don't get black flag for it. So we'll leave that up to NASCAR's discretion. A little vague on the rule book, but driver's doing a good job of it to this point. 13 laps left. Truex leads that time by at the line. Allmendinger fell back quite a bit as Anthony Alfredo is now the first car in line on the outside, moving up in front of the 16 on the front stretch. And the 5 is side by side for second with Allgaier off the exit of turn 2. 7 car, first car on the bottom. Sheldon Creed working his way forward. Block nearly gone wrong on the back straightaway. 1 car all the way down on the apron and trying to merge back into traffic. At the tail end of this lead pack, we do stay green. Alfredo going to get hung out to dry in the top couple positions on the inside lane. Second, third, fourth, and maybe more looking to pass the 5 car on the front stretch. Allgaier lost touch of Anthony Alfredo. He'll pick him back up with a bump draft at the end of the front stretch. They stay door to door for about 4th or 5th place. Definitely lost a lot of ground. Alfredo back to the inside of Kligerman after a great push from Justin Allgaier headed into the first turn. It was Sam Mayer, by the way, in the 1 car, I believe, that went way wide to the apron of the racetrack after contact off the front bumper of the car just behind him. Like Mayer may have made a late move down to the bottom. He nearly turned himself. Almost the same spot that his teammate Brandon Jones went for a spin a little earlier on in Stage 3. 11 laps to go at the line for Ryan Truex. His older brother Martin in his final full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Ryan Truex with 2 Xfinity wins, both at Dover in the last just over a season. Winning last year at Dover in a part-time role with this Joe Gibbs Racing team in the Xfinity Series, and this year's Dover race as well. Trying to win on a non-Dover racetrack this time. Also in a part-time role. Rick Allen mentioned earlier on the broadcast, I'll reiterate, that 20 car has won 5 times this season with 4 different drivers. John Hunter Nemechek, Cup regular, the only driver to win more than once in that car. Other wins would include Ryan Truex, Eric Almirola, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Ty Gibbs won in that car earlier this year as well. AJ Allmendinger back to the lead with 10 laps to go into turn 1. Got to the outside of Truex with a big push on the front stretch from Kligerman. Kligerman's been up in the top 5 pretty much all night. Despite the fact that he has been up towards the front the whole race, he has not led a single lap yet in this one. He'd like to win, but he's trying to be smart. I'm sure he's one of those guys who's probably going to wait till the very final lap to try to make a move if he does race running in that outside line just behind the leaders. As a result, the points as we run has Kligerman 52 points to the good over Sammy Smith, who's the first driver out. That's even with Sammy Smith being in this race still, although Sammy is 1 lap down following that recent crash, as he is in 30th, and he's the only car 1 lap down, so if we got another yellow, he should get back on the lead lap with the free pass. Jesse Love may get lapped here if we stay green to the end as well. He's only about 8 seconds or so ahead of the leaders. All by himself with no drafting help. And damage, of course. Kyle Weatherman is the 5th car in line on the outside lane. He was top 10 at the end of stage 2, quietly. Back in the top 10 once again late. Josh Williams has kind of floated around the top 10 for most of the night. Qualified there. Finished there at the end of stages 1 and 2. And he's that next car in line behind Weatherman. Kligerman to the bottom of the track, just trying to stay in front of the 20 car. The 16 rear mirror driving. Pulled to the bottom with Kligerman, but Kligerman has now lost the top. As soon as the 48 pulled down to the bottom, the 20 went to the outside along with the 98 of Riley Herbst. Took away the line from the 48 and the 16. Now the 16 goes back to the bottom on the back straightaway. Looking to go back to the top, but Truex is there. So the aggressive move to cover the bottom when they did now makes the 16 and the 48 the 2 lead cars on the double yellow line in that bottom groove with just 7 laps to go. Allmendinger by half a car length led that lap at the line. Truex now leads the outside rather than the bottom, and Riley Herbst the 2nd car in line on the top as well. Allgaier still the 3rd car in the bottom. Sheldon Creed going up the middle 3 wide, trying to gain a couple positions. Working by his teammate of Joe Graff Jr. in the 19. Ryan Sieg to his inside. No momentum, though, going forward for Sheldon Creed. There's a ton of pushing. Even if you're not the lead car in line getting pushed, you're probably getting pushed. You're the 3rd, 4th, or 5th place car in line. These bump drafts have definitely been very, very aggressive. No matter where you are in the pack here these last several laps now. 6 to go at the line. And again, it was Allmendinger leading the last lap. Headed down towards turn 1. Kligerman pushing the 16 into the first turn. Kligerman clear. Creed up the middle, gaining a couple more spots. Off the exit of turn 2. Kligerman still side by side with Ryan Truex in the 20. End of the backstretch into turn 3. The 98 on the back of the 20 car, outside lane. 5 getting a little loose. In the midst of that happening, a crash behind him, and it actually collected the 5 of Alfredo as well. Few cars hard into the wall. Somebody got turned down the track and then overcorrected into the left rear corner panel of Anthony Alfredo, spun him back across the field. And this is a caution with just 5 laps to go. A couple of vicious hits into that outside wall. Window net down on the 45. 26 of Jeffrey Earnhardt with severe damage in the crash. Shane Van Gisbergen involved. Jeremy Clements involved in his second wreck of the night. He was in that lap 1 incident earlier as well. Josh Bilicki in the 92 has a bunch of smoke. This will probably push us past the scheduled distance here. Again, 5 laps to go. Caution flag is out. And we should go past lap 100, which was the scheduled distance for tonight's race with this yellow flag.
All these are big impacts. You know, you forget. You get so accustomed to watching these wrecks, you forget how fast they're going.
Five's backing up quickly. I'm not sure if he has an issue. And as the stack up happens, the 26 gets kind of checked up. The 45 gets in the back of the 26. I don't know if the 5 has a flat right here. It just gets loose. 26 goes left to hit them.
And 26 hit hard on that outside wall. When he goes back up here, nobody stops him. Bam, right there.
Yeah, it's that quickly thing. Anthony Alfredo, a few minutes ago, was thinking he had a chance to win this race, and now his night's over.
Got tagged in the back with a 26. And as many cars are involved in the cleanup that it's going to take, Steve, could we get to overtime with this?
Well, we absolutely could. It's 4 to go right here. We haven't heard anything from NASCAR about stopping them, and it looks to me that it's going to take at least 3 or 4 laps to get this cleaned up. So we're going to be going to overtime, and we said fuel wasn't an issue because they can go over 40 laps, but I think they should still be okay. It comes down to where they're doing their homework under yellow, right? We've had 14 laps of yellow, so if the drivers were shutting the car off and cycling, they should have saved some gas along the way. Alton Alfredo sits in his pit box. Let's listen into the radio. That makes sense because I mentioned the 5 looked like he was backing up. I saw the back of the car moving around, but there's not a lot of air in the middle. It could have just been a handling issue, but now we thought he had a tire going down.
And how much damage did this 5 have? You know, I said his night was over, and obviously that was a quick call on my part. They're still trying to get this car fixed. There's a lot of time left in this race. We've seen an overtime finish could go for quite a ways.
7 cars involved in this one. And the 26 shooting up the racetrack, collecting 6 others. So that means another restart and overtime at Daytona.
It's our third caution involving 6 or more cars in this race here tonight at Daytona. Ryan Truex scored as the race leader under yellow. And again, this will push us into an overtime finish here as we'll go past the scheduled distance. Caution initially taking place at lap 95 of 100. So with Truex out in the lead, you got A.J. Allmendinger up there at the front of the field. Riley Herbst, Parker Kligerman, Chandler Smith, the top 5. Sheldon Creed behind Justin Allgaier. Allgaier 6th, Creed 7th. Ryan Sieg 8th, Kyle Weatherman 9th, and Jordan Anderson 10th. Joe Graff Jr. 11th, Josh Williams 12th. That's the top dozen. Now just 23 cars on the lead lap. And I believe the free pass goes to Sammy Smith to get back on the lead lap with the yellow flag. So that being the case, we will have 24 cars on the lead lap for this first overtime restart attempt. And obviously those that are fans of NASCAR obviously know the overtime procedure rules, but I'll reiterate here, even though we seem to have this every single weekend, it feels like in NASCAR now. The race leader gets to the start-finish line for the white flag lap. The next flag ends the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. If the yellow flag does come out on the final lap, the field is frozen at the time of caution, and that dictates the finish of the race, the finishing order. So obviously whoever's out in front at the time of yellow would win. If we obviously get to the checker, we get to the checker. And if a caution comes out before the race leader gets to the white flag, then we will have another overtime restart, unlimited attempts at trying to at least get to the white. We've seen that come into play several times already just this year alone. Red flag has been displayed with the field at the end of the front stretch, it looks like, headed towards turn 1 where they are stopped. And this is because of what is likely to be a semi-lengthy cleanup And NASCAR doesn't want to have these teams risking running out of fuel here under caution. So, red flag for the first time tonight. Here's Matt Collig in the pit box with, actually, it's Chris Rice, I think. Yeah, Chris Rice.
Let's go. I don't know if he's
Pit
gonna get
road.
that right, but thanks to everybody at Collig Racing. You know, Campers in RV. I mean, Josh Williams is doing a wonderful job. SVG's had his troubles tonight, but yeah, AJ's done amazing tonight. I don't know if he took a playbook from when we won here years ago, but it's been fun to watch for sure.
I was going to ask you, how have you guys sort of rediscovered the magic you had here a few years ago? Because it's sort of been absent the last few races at Daytona and Talladega.
I got to give a lot of credit to the shop. You know, Lenny Chandler, everybody's worked really hard at listening to me complain and raise Cane at the shop and be really mad about how slow we've been. And they worked really hard. Everybody at RCR, we're fit to go make it welcome back to where it needs to be. You know, Richard Childress, myself, Matt Collick, thanks to Matt Collick for letting us do this. But we're gonna get welcome back on the map because we know our Cup side's not been good, and we know our Xfinity side hasn't been good. But we're going to turn this ship around, I promise you.
It's been a good night for Collig Racing so far. AJ Allmendinger in a very good position. Meanwhile, it's been a rough night for Cole Custer. He's out of the race. Moments ago, Kim caught up with him.
Before Michigan, Cole Custer had a 56-point lead in the regular season standing. Now back-to-back weeks of unfortunate finishes, which has huge implications on the regular season point standings. How would you summarize tonight?
It was frustrating for sure. I mean, got caught up on pit road, just got some damage there, and then we fought real hard getting it back up there, and just got caught up in that next wreck. You know, they wrecked high, and I was trying to go low, and we ended up just getting a part of it. And I hate it for Fantic and everybody involved. I wish we could have had a strong run tonight, but we'll just move on to Darlington. You know, this is a really weird stretch for Xfinity Series right now with so many speedways, so we'll just get our feet under us to Darlington.
Cole Custer looking to turn his luck around after 2 bad weeks.
And a huge swing in the regular season point standings. Again, at the end of the regular season, whoever's the regular season champion, they get 15 playoff points. If you finish second, you get 10. Third is 8. And then a point all the way down until you're 10th in regular season standings. But Allgaier now 33 points ahead of Cole Custer, where we had heard Cole Custer had over a 50-point lead over Allgaier.
Yeah, now he's 33 back.
Yeah, and we chose the schedule
Crazy.
coming up right here in Atlanta. We have Bristol. So this Xfinity series has quite the stretch here with 4 remaining races to solve who's going to win the regular season championship. I had mentioned that there was yet to be a red flag, and I was wondering why we need a red flag, and then I saw this. It looks like the Sahara in turn 4. So NASCAR obviously feel the safest way with vision is to stop the cars, and I see why now that the track's covered. I brought that up just because you asked about fuel, and fuel is close, and I've heard fans both ways say, we should red flag it so they don't run out of gas. I totally disagree. I think you have to ride the cars around. If you can't save gas, you can't. But when the cleanup necessitates a red flag, it makes perfect sense.
And before this red flag came out, Kim caught up with Parker Retzlaff.
Parker Retzlaff was part of that melee. Parker, what happened?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's just been such a disappointing year for everyone here at the Funkaway 31 car, and I don't know. It looked like I don't know if Jeb was pushing Sammy or what. And suddenly there was a car in the fence, and I tried to slow down and turn left, and then I got a little bit of right front damage, and I was suddenly hooked, and I was going up the racetrack, and I hit the wall, and then came back down. And I think it was Cole or somebody was coming back up, and I hit it, ran into him while I was still wrecking and out of control, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a disappointing year for everyone on the Funkaway Chevy. It's just, I feel like we had a really good car. I mean, I rode in the back there and just kind of tried to buy my time 20th, and just, I was up to probably 14th there, and I felt like our middle of the line was surging some run, and I felt like I was going somewhere, and it just all comes to an end in a quick hurry at a place like this, so. We're going to keep fighting, but it's definitely been a disappointing year.
So there's been number of drivers that have ended this night not happy. And probably at the top of that list has to be Cole Custer because of the regular season points that he has continued to lose. Now, he's locked into the playoffs, but those playoff points are so important as they want to advance through the rounds. Kim.
It's been a great night for Justin Allgaier, who has swept the stages. They started the race too with a good sense of humor. There were some pre-race jokes told on the radio, and now that we're under the red, they've pulled the joke books back out. Listen to the radio.
Oh, what do you call a fake noodle? Nancy Alfredo joke or what? He was the last constant.
So again, things remain lighthearted for that 17 as they look to defend their win from last year at Daytona.
Rick, you never bring any good dad jokes to the booth.
That wasn't really a good joke either.
Oh, boy. I always.
By the way, I'm not thinking of any.
Well, no, these were all. You're under the flow of the race. You kind of figure it out, and there's something to discuss, like the upcoming restart or the push or what you need to do. But I mean, this is really just waiting, right? You know what's coming up. You're just waiting for the overtime.
Kim.
Cesar Vaccarella was part of that big incident, took a big hit. Are you okay? And what can you
I
tell
never
us
knew
from
that's what
your
this guy
standpoint
looked
from
like.
here?
Perfectly fine, just aggravated. Really tight racing. I think it was 5 to go. He thought he was clear, and there's just not enough room. And unfortunately, I tried tapping on the brake, but got back of him. You know, just not enough room. It's very tight racing, and that's what I saw in front of me.
So again, disappointed drivers that are out of this race early. We have been approved to chat with Ryan Truex in the 20. And so Jeff, dial him up on the radio.
Hey, Ryan, it's guys up in the booth. You with us?
I got it.
All right, led 23 laps tonight. Only a few left to go. What are you going to have to do to make this work?
Man, just got to keep making the right lanes. It's just really tough to control this race. They're just lanes have so much momentum. Seems like at all times. I mean, really, Tyler up on the ladder stand doing most of the work. I'm just here where he tells me to. So the GR Super is super bad. Just happy to be here, happy to drive it. I don't get to do this often, so to lead some more laps and be running up front, it's good TV time. So it's fun.
Hey, talk about not doing it a lot. You don't run a full schedule. So how do you make up for that lack of experience on this last restart?
Just let it do happen.
That's a good plan. Good luck, bud. Have fun.
This is just his 8th race this year. And as I mentioned earlier, one at Dover. One of the drivers that has taken the 20 to victory lane.
I think the tough decision for him is who does he want behind him, right? So what lane is he going to pick? Trying to get the guy behind him that he wants that can be the best pusher. Right? Because you have to get the lead. The way I think about it, Steve, is I want to, no matter what, I want to be leading when that white flag comes out. Because so many times we see a caution come out on that last lap and the race is over. So I know a lot of people are like, don't get the lead too early, but I want that lead as quick as I can get it.
Well, we have seen the 16 and the 48 working together, and Parker Kligerman had said that he might not be showing all of his cards. Let's dial him up on the radio and see if we can chat with Parker and find out what his strategy is going to be.
Hey, Parker's Booth guys, you with us?
Got you, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great up here. How you doing in there?
I'm having fun. I feel like after building tradition this whole night, I'd like to go finish it off again.
You've done a great job of getting points and getting in a good position, being smart. So how do you take all that experience and make it work for you here in a short run?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say, I've got it mapped out in my head, but I've got an idea of how I'd like this to play out. What I think it's, what's going to lead the best chance to being across the start finish line first. But it's been crazy out here, man. The pushes are massive. The lanes are pretty equal. The Toyotas are stupid fast, and AJ and I have done our best against that Armada with the PCR offense. But it's been tough. But if we can get a good restart here and just put ourselves in position, that's what we've done all night. Hopefully, it plays out how I want. I don't know. I'm staying pretty locked in. I stay pretty, just in the zone here. So I'm gonna try and do that. Go finish this off.
Yeah, you mentioned how well you and Armadinger worked. Is there anybody else out there that you feel like, you mentioned the Toyotas, but is there anybody else that you feel like If you see them make a run, you can go with them and help push them, which ultimately might get you the best finish possible.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a great push, car with our like 4 Chevy here. It's right there for the internet. I think the one behind me there, that number 7, he's pretty stout, right? So we've got some power up here. I mean, the 98 beside me, I'm sure I can push him, but we've been a really good pusher. I'd like to be that lead car for all 4, so I've got to figure out how to make that happen. But definitely, we have some options. I think that, breaking up the Toyotas does it for us.
All right, buddy, we're going to let you get back to it. Focus. Have a good night.
I thought you were going to ask him maybe what he did with the tool that he
Yeah, the wrench, because he was working on his mirror. I mean, he's multi-talented.
He's the driver. He doesn't even remember that wrench at this point.
He said he was higher race. You mentioned the points. He's already collected 11 points that he's taken to the bank because of his finishes in the first 2 stages. As the track cleaning crew still continues to try to get the fluid cleared up in turns 3 and 4. Will be overtime when we return to Daytona.
Like the red flag here right before our potential first, well, it will be our first overtime finish, but hopefully it'll be the only one, as Ryan Truex is still scored, obviously, as the race leader at the time of yellow. We'll take a break here, continue our live commentary coverage before this final overtime restart. Or I say final, hopefully final overtime restart. It definitely will be the first one again. Coming up shortly, you're listening live to the Wawa 250 at Daytona for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 60 likes on the stream thus far. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Red flag has been lifted during the current commercial break on the USA Network, so we're back to yellow flag / caution conditions here at the Daytona International Speedway. So again, back to yellow flag conditions. Waiting to see exactly how this is all going to end up playing out on the restart. I don't think they've opened pit road yet, so it's going to be a couple more caution laps, I do believe, before the next restart. I'd probably say at least 3 more caution flag laps. Probably open pit road this time by.
We've overcome adversity. This team's done a really, really good job of hanging in there and staying together. Big Crew's done good. Kid's done a heck of a job. We'll see what he has here on this last restart.
So we were talking this morning with Riley about how he's really worked on these super speedway races, and all of that film work, all that study that you guys went through. Did you plan for what are we going to do in an overtime scenario?
Honestly, it's hard to plan for these overtime scenarios. It's usually every man for himself, and you just hope that somebody goes with you and the hole opens up and come into the checkered and try to make that move at the right time.
Well, Steve, that would count it as a good day, right? If your driver gets spun on pit road, accidentally by a teammate, you thought you had a broken track bar, you recover from all that, to have a shot to win the race, it's not bad for the 98 team tonight.
That's a big roller coaster for 250 miles, right? It's a relatively short race, but the 98's done a really good job recovering. I think handling the adversity last week, right? A mistake eliminated him from Michigan, and the way he handled his interview, the way they went through the week. I think Riley's doing a really nice job dealing with those situations, and he's going to have a little adversity here at this craziness of a green-white checker finish.
Think about what's in front of Riley Herbst. If he could potentially win here, 2 races ago, he won at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then to come to Daytona and have a shot at the win there. What a sweep that would be to win at both of those racetracks.
Huge confidence builder. I'm really interested to see what lane everybody picks. Going back to Ryan Truex, remember he won Dover earlier this year. He knows how to win races, but it is a disadvantage. Look what's lined up behind him. Full-time drivers. Every single one is a full-time driver. They do this every week. They work with their spotter every week. So it is a much more difficult situation for Truex. And he's going to have some very difficult decisions to make, as everybody is. And when to block, what kind of push, who you want pushing you. it's very difficult to win these races anyway. But I think he does such a good job with the limited amount of runs that he gets.
Few cars over in the back. Let me come in, make sure they're good on fuel, fix any damage. A lot of these cars look like they have a damage on. Tough night, Brandon Jones. Or little touch-up work there to the 27, and while they're working on that, let's listen in on the 98 radio. Right here.
Right here. Just go over here. A little help. I can't finish it myself.
Well, Riley, I'm going to give you a little bit of information that I think you already knows, which is everybody's going to need some help. There's not a car here that's going to be able to pull off this pass or make this move. You're going to need somebody to go with you. But the thing is, and when I hear drivers say I didn't have help, nobody went with me, sometimes I think they look at it the wrong way. They're looking for help. What I like is when a driver forces the car behind him to help. You have no option. And you do that with positioning your car. You do that by running good all day long. You do that by getting a little lucky, right? Getting, it's all has to kind of go your way. But if you look at, say, someone like the 7 who has won both stages, or the 20 who's led 23 laps, you try to box that car in behind you, Jeff, and force them to go with you.
Jeff, this is a racetrack, and we've seen it so many times, so many races, where you'll see a car setting up another one. Where does that start? Does that start on the backstretch? Does that start in 3 and 4? Because the passes that we see made in this front trioval, they're set up maybe on the other side of the racetrack.
Well, in this situation, you have essentially a 2-lap shootout. And it all starts with the guy behind you. How good of a pusher is he? What can he do leaving the restart zone? And then, depending on what situation you're in, if Truex gets out on a lead, he's got to decide which lane to block, right? And what lane he blocks also influences the run that's coming behind him. And sometimes the run comes because of what happens 3 rows back as they keep pushing each other. So it's a response to the things that are happening around you as much as it is you being ahead of the decisions.
And 48-16 are nose to tail again. The 20 and the 98 will be nose to tail.
The other thing we have seen, and we saw with Anthony Alfredo a few laps ago, recoveries come quicker. You can take the white and look like you're in the absolute wrong spot. Go through 1 and 2, fall back to that push you talked about, Jeff, right? And then the momentum, you can go from backing up to going forward in a mile and a half, which is, half a lap here at Daytona.
So we talked about Ryan Truex has won already. He's not eligible for the playoffs. Allmendinger hasn't won yet this year, but is eligible. Parker Kligerman has not won yet this year. He's also eligible. As a matter of fact, Parker Kligerman has finished in every position from 2nd to 25th, but he's never finished in that number 1 spot yet. So Parker Kligerman trying to finish that one out. Party.
Rick, as they come to the green, keep an eye on the driver's side of Ryan Truex's car. He has radioed a message to Riley Herbst to say, look out my window. I'm going to hand motion you when we're ready to go. Follow that motion. Let's get out in front of everybody else.
I'm working it.
Yeah, so the driver on the inside, when he puts his hand out the window, the only one that can see it is the one guy right behind me. When you're on the outside and you put your hand on the window, the guys at 3rd, 5th, etc., they can also see that movement. This launch is so important, and they all know it.
Start. It's Ryan Truex in the 20. Allmendinger in the 16. They make up that front row.
Here we go. Ryan Truex, AJ Allmendinger about to lead the field to the green. Riley Herbst pushing the 20 on the inside, and the Spike Coolers Chevrolet of Parker Kligerman on the outside pushing the dinger. Green flag back in the air. Will they make it around for 2 overtime laps? 98 still locking bumpers with the 20. Let's go into turn 1. Truex is all clear into the first turn, but not by much on the 16 of Allmendinger. Will he look to move up? Staying hooked in the bottom for right now as the field still gets up to speed on the back straightaway. Now Truex goes up to protect the outside. The 16 is coming with a run. 16 getting a push from the 48 of Kligerman. Will AJ make a move on the 20 as they're still building speed to turn 3? Top 2, single file. Can control either lane. Riley Herbst fell back a bit. Now he's picking up some ground. All guy right behind the 98 of Herbst. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Final lap of the race for Ryan Truex. Can he win? 2.5 miles to go. AJ Allmendinger all over his back bumper. 48 of Kligerman looking low. AJ goes for a spin. Hangs on to it, but as he slides across the racetrack and pounds the outside wall, the caution flag will come out, and Ryan Truex is going to win at Daytona. Bit of a delayed caution, I will say, but a caution did come out for the spinning 16 car, who did come back across the racetrack with oncoming traffic behind the lead pack. And unofficially, it's going to be a 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing as Chandler Smith is scored second on our screen now. NASCAR will be reviewing the finish of the race from second on back, but what we do know for a fact is Ryan Truex is well out ahead of both lines on the back straightaway at the time of caution, and Ryan Truex is your winner of the Wawa 250 at Daytona. Third career Xfinity Series win, second of the season, all in part-time roles with Joe Gibbs Racing over the last just over calendar year. For Ryan Truex, the younger brother of course, Martin Truex Jr. Margin of victory, of course, going to be under caution for Truex. You'll probably see that leaderboard change quite a bit over the next several minutes as NASCAR begins reviewing the finishing order. Again, field is frozen at the time of caution on the final lap of a yellow. They do throughout the course of the race. A little different for the final lap yellows. Kligerman went low. 16 tried to go even lower to make a block. It was a bad block. 16 ended up in the wall as he came back across the racetrack after sliding in the grass, getting down towards turn 1. I don't think Kligerman really did anything wrong there. It was just a bad block by the 16 of Allmendinger. A single car crash causing the caution on the final lap of the race. Finishing order behind Ryan Truex has Chandler Smith finishing second, Parker Kligerman third, Riley Herbst fourth, Ryan Sieg finishes in fifth. Again, unofficial results. Jordan Anderson sixth in a one-off run, Justin Allgaier seventh, Sheldon Creed eighth, Leland Honeyman ninth, Kyle Weatherman is going to round out our top 10. Josh Williams in 11th, 12th for Joe Graff Jr., Blaine Perkins 13th, Sam Mayer 14th, Kyle Sieg 15th, Brendan Poole 16th, Jeb Burton 17th, Patrick Emmerling 18th, CJ McLaughlin 19th, and Joey Gase 20th. Brandon Jones 21st, Jesse Love 22nd, Sammy Smith 23rd, AJ Allmendinger last car in the lead lap 24th, got in that last lap crash, of course. Shane Van Gisbergen first car lap down in 25th, Anthony Alfredo 26th, a lap down. 1 lap down for Jeremy Clements in 27th, 3 laps down for Jeffrey Earnhardt in 28th, and then out of the race from 29th on back, Cesar Baccarella finishes 29th, Josh Bilicki 30th, Austin Hill finishes the race but 23 laps down in 31st, Cole Custer out of the race finishing 32nd, Matt DiBenedetto 33rd, 34th for Parker Retzlaff, Tim Baines 35th, Gustine 36th, Ryan Ellis 37th, Akinori Ogata 38th. Again, 24 cars finished on the lead lap in this race today. And entirely, we saw 9 drivers DNF in this one. Again, Mark X.
He kind of parked halfway on the apron, halfway on the banking here. That's actually quite a bit of skill. The car trying to hold in gear right now. Ryan has a 25% win average in 2024. 2 for 8 now, as he's won at Dover. He's one of the most famous racetrack in NASCAR. Ryan, what does this mean to you? You got it done tonight at Daytona.
Oh my gosh, man. Thanks to these fans. It's so good to race here. I was in the Toyota suite earlier, and one of the guys in there, it's his birthday, and he said I would win on his birthday. I told him if I won, I'd shout him out. So shout out to you. I don't know which one he's in, but it's the Toyota suite. Just thanks to these guys, man.
I don't get to race that often. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. It's all a work in progress, but just a great car. We've worked hard on our super speedway stuff. Daytona, Atlanta, I feel like we were behind the 8 ball, and we came here all qualified well, all raced well. Shout out to Tyler up on the roof. What an amazing spotter. He drove this car. I just turned the steering wheel. So thanks to him. Thanks to the internet, everybody at JGR, Toyota, TRD. I can't believe this. I felt good this week coming in, and I knew we'd have a shot. And I feel like every time I'm here, I just end up making a dumb mistake or get caught up in a wreck. So I'm just glad we finished one out.
How do you stay with it? Because the other drivers, they've had 22 races this year. You've had 8. How do you, and this is precision stuff. How do you do it?
I got to give a lot of credit to the sim group at JGR. I run a lot of sim laps during the week. That's my day job, basically, is driving the simulator at TRD. So I learned a lot on that. They've taught me a lot. Being able to look at Cup guys' data and video and what things they do. I've become a better driver in the past 3 years with these guys, racing less than I ever have, just because I've learned so much and just have such great people around me. So shout out to all those guys. I hope they're watching. And I'll be seeing them Tuesday at 7 a.m.
And credit to Ryan. That information gets passed along to all of his teammates. The Toyotas were fast tonight at Daytona, and Ryan Truex is a winner at the World Center of Racing.
And Parker Kligerman will come home just a little bit short. Top 5 finish, though, for you. When you got out of the car, I saw you slam your fist on the roof. What's the frustration? Take me through that last lap and what you need to do maybe differently.
I just feel like I've put myself in position time after time, and this race team has helped me do that. And in this moment, I'm going to see the replay here for the first time. I go left, and he tries to come with me. So I hate it. AJ and I mean, we were awesome. We were the best 2 that weren't Toyotas all day. And I just had a run, and I had to go, and I felt like it was a run I had to take to try and put myself on the bottom to win this race. I felt like the bottom was going to win it into 4. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do now. So I hate it. I love him like a brother. You know, he and I have been in this for a long time together, and I don't want to turn someone like that. But I would have liked to have been able to finish on the green as well. You know, we had such a strong Spike 4 Chevy. This fast Xfinity internet, and it just, we did everything right. We never let it lap, but I got to think we were probably the most in the top 3. So we had a really strong car, strong night and overall. But God, I just want to win one of these damn things so bad.
Frustrating, but to your point, it was a really good points night. You'll leave plus 44. How big is that for the team after the penalty occurred earlier in the week?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. You know, I mean, this was a big, important night, and it was a big opportunity. You know, last year we came in the worst position and had a big night. Something about Daytona in the summer I love, but I don't know. None of it feels like it even matters without a win. I got to win one of these damn races. This is ridiculous at this point. I just want to win.
Marty, this night feels bittersweet for Parker Kligerman.
We're going to grab a word with Chandler Smith, but first he's going to give Ryan Truex a big high five for the win there. Kind of walk us through that last lap, and you were pushing Parker when the 16 made the move on him.
Yeah, I was getting pushed from behind, just trying to time my run precisely to where I could have timed it right, still had enough forward momentum to poke bottom, and then it looked like the 16 started going to the bottom. And it just was all bad pushes at that same time. I was getting pushed from out back. There wasn't much I could do. I was already squirmy. So just extremely, extremely happy for everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing. I say this in a very nice way. We have not been good on super speedways for a very, very, very long time on the Xfinity program. And we went to Indy, was solid, had our break, went to Michigan, was firing on all cylinders, and then we came here today and sat on the pole. That's huge for us. And now that we're sitting in victory lane, just a huge statement to all the men and women back at the shop. So just really, really fast, number 81, quick type Prodigy GR Super. It was as fast as Xfinity internet today. Just couldn't time my run good enough, and just wasn't meant in the cars for today.
He mentioned the turnaround for Joe Gibbs Racing. Ryan Truex mentioned it as well, but JGR clearly showed up here in Daytona, Dave.
Jordan Anderson showed up twice at Daytona this year. Man, 6 today after a great run in February as well. How good does this feel?
Yeah, I'll take it. You know, to finish 4th here in February, to come here 6th now. I don't get to do this much, you know. I'm sitting on the pit box every week watching Jed and Parker, and, you know, you guys at home, when I get a chance to do this, you got to make the most of it. So we had Volpe Foods jump on board. They're sponsoring me here in Talladega. These are my only 2 races I got left this year. Had Larry Mack back on the box. So what a phenomenal night. You know, they come out of here. They told me if you bring the car back clean, you can run Talladega. So I think other than maybe a few scratches, we're clean. So, but what a night. Had a lot of fun. A crazy race. I was really hoping. I saw whoever it was spun the inside. I'm like, man, please let us get back to checker because you never know what could happen at 3 and 4. And we were like in a perfect spot to maybe jump the middle or go through there. But our entire team did a great job building a fast car and earlier in the night. But what a fun night. I mean, you see, we got a sea of blue behind us with Volpe here. A lot of people here tonight. So it means a lot for them to be here to support me. And all you fans at home, I'm excited. Maybe I can do a little more of this, you know, to get 2 top 10s here at Daytona. I love this place. I remember when I first came here with my dad when I was 6. When the dog track was here, we camped out in the back of his Tahoe and made a weekend out of it. So anytime you come here, it's the history of the sport and everything here is just phenomenal. And appreciate all the fans that stuck through all the weather this weekend. And hope you guys at home like that because that was a pretty crazy race. But
we did like it. We look forward to seeing Jordan Anderson at Talladega. The owner wins in one of his cars. Or wins. It's like a win, Kim. 6th in one of his cars tonight.
Well, for the second straight week, Ryan Sieg and his team had a very solid night. 5th place finish here. What have you guys been building that we've seen this uptick in performance recently?
Yeah, no, we've just been chasing points. We've been doing executing stages 1 and 2 the past few races. And stage 3, we kind of fell off. We would have been a whole lot more ahead up the 8 with those other races. But you know what I mean. It's been great. We've been doing what we need to do, and then come out of here with a top 5 where we should be running. But finally, we've got some momentum. Hopefully, we can continue it. We've been running really well. Just got to keep executing and keep it there at the stage 3 and try to, I guess, point our way in, and you know what I mean. Just do all we can do and try to win one of these races out of the before we start the playoffs. But all in all, great night for our PsyOps board.
And maybe the most important part of the night, Marty, they hopscotch over that elimination line, now sit in that final playoff position.
I'm not sure where to start with this night for Riley Herbst. The spin on pit road when Cole Custer made contact with you, and then the drive back through the field in stage 2. How would you describe this evening?
Yeah, it was kind of like our season so far. Marty just up and down. I'm really proud of everybody on the 98 team. We just weren't that good. The first stage, second stage, we got it better, and we had that incident on pit road, like you said. And third stage, I thought we were going to have a shot at it, but we still just were a little too bound up, too tight in the center. And we need a little bit more pace here on these plate tracks. So hopefully we'll go to work at Stewart Haas Racing and get ready for Talladega in the playoffs. But I'm looking forward to these next few tracks with everybody here on the 98 team, and hopefully we can go close that points gap.
After a chaotic night, winds up being a 4th for Riley Herbst.
Big night for Riley.
Bunch of post-race interviews there with a lot of the top 10 finishers. Listen in on the point standings here following this race. 4 races remaining in the regular season for the Xfinity Series. Again, the drivers locked into the playoffs with wins would include Shane Van Gisbergen with 3, 2 for Justin Allgaier, Justin Allgaier, Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Austin Hill. 1 win for Cole Custer, Jesse Love, Riley Herbst. 4 drivers above the cutoff line on points right now. Those 4 are AJ Allmendinger plus 113, Sheldon Creeds plus 93, plus 44 for Parker Kligerman and Ryan Sieg plus 15. Minus 15 points for Sammy Smith, minus 107 for Brandon Jones, Anthony Alfredo 15th in the playoff standings, minus 131, and Brandon Pools minus 158 points, 16th overall in the standings. So that is the playoff grid outlook. Again, 24 cars finish on the lead lap in this one. 7 cautions, last one on the final lap of the race. Had 1 on lap 1, stage yellow at lap 30. Then we had 2 incidences, 1 leading to an end of stage 2. And then technically we would have ended up having 4 cautions in the 40-lap final stage. AJ Allmendinger went on to lead the most laps today with 35 laps led. He led 7 different times. Our race winner led 28 laps. That was Ryan Truex. He led 6 times in the race. Just Allgaier won stages 1 and 2, leading for 16 laps. 16 laps also led for Chandler Smith. 1 lap led for Riley Herbst under caution, and 7 laps led for Sam Mayer at the beginning of stage 2. 6 different drivers led at least 1 lap in the race. 21 lead changes entirely in this 102-lap race. We went 2 laps past the scheduled distance here tonight. Total time of the race, 2 hours, 10 minutes, 34 seconds. That is not counting the red flag we had right before the overtime restart. That red flag lasted 12 minutes and 12 seconds. Average race speed of 111.22 miles per hour. That wraps up tonight's live commentary stream of the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Daytona International Speedway for the running of the Wawa 250. We'll be live for tomorrow's Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona at 7 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage. Again, pre-race show will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. NASCAR Cup Series racing under the lights on a Saturday night at Daytona. You love that summer Saturday night Daytona race. Well, come to the right place right here on KRC. We'll also have live commentary coverage on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern for the NASCAR Truck Series playoff opener, which will take place at the Milwaukee Miles. Those are our last two live commentary streams here this weekend. Thanks for watching and your support throughout all of the weekend coverage in these live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend. Great to see you back this weekend after being at Michigan last week, and hope to see you again tomorrow night for the Cup Series race at Daytona. Have a good rest of your Friday, everybody. Hit that like button on your way out if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. See you soon.